Should we jump or is it too soon? Thinking of my time, yeah, and all the times I lied to myself. Where did the fun go? I've been sitting in a race and I know that I misbehaved a time or two, but I promise you we will sit right here until these turns are through. Should we jump? Or is it too soon? Look to the stars and do you think they are too far? Look to the stars and do you think they tell us who we are? Should we jump or is it too soon? Should we jump or is it too soon? I've been thinking of my time, yeah, and all the times
All right. Hey, Seth. What's going on? Ooh. Does it hang? It's going all right. But you said interesting title. What does the title say for you? Because it should be Fireclaws Druid versus Moz 745 out of 1,000 runs. Hey, Joshua. Joshua was saying new ladder, and the answer is, no, at least not for Slashdiablo. I'm playing on the Slashdiablo private server, in case you didn't know, and the new ladder isn't due for about another month. On YouTube it said multi-streaming with Restream.io. That's very bizarre. That shouldn't be the case. Yeah, that's very bizarre. I don't know where you're seeing this from. It's not letting me... streaming... Yeah, why would it say that? That's very strange. Oh, interesting. It actually does say multi-streaming with Restream.io. Just another one of those silly like they just didn't set it up properly. Anyway, going back to it. So two things. First of all, okay, thank you for sharing with me, Seth. So two things. First of all, welcome back to the channel, Seth. I haven't seen you in quite some time. I hope that your real life endeavors have been fruitful. I trust that they've been very fruitful, judging by the fact that I haven't seen you around lately, which is, of course, totally okay. Of course, got your back all the way. But also, just updating the title, and then I'll get started. But also, just going back to the original question that was being asked by Joshua. If you're still around, Joshua, let me know if you are still around. Yeah, we're playing on Slashdiablo. The new season isn't set to begin for another month, a little over a month probably. But I myself am going to be playing Slashdiablo because I had a goal, and yeah, I had a goal. That's supposed to be 1,000 mausoleum runs, and hopefully when I finish these 1,000 mausoleum runs, well, yeah, that's my big plan for the season. I'm gonna end at 1,000 Moz runs. I'm gonna be too poor to afford Enigma, which is what I wanted, but I'll have data collected, and then I will probably share with the Slashdiablo community just in time for the ladder reset. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you have any other ones. Some topics I wanted to cover today. Well, actually, the main topic I wanted to cover today, because I have about 3.5 hours to stream. I want to do about 30 or so runs. Yeah, I want to do about 30 or so runs. Then I'm going to talk about two things. The main two things are my plan going into next month, what I want to do with these mausoleum runs. Nothing too special, just kind of create a timeline here, and something else I want to test. And the second thing is Project Diablo 2. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about it. Yeah, this is definitely something that makes more sense to talk about when everyone is here. But having said that, yeah, it has been something that has been brought to my attention, and I've really given it a lot of thought, and I feel like it would actually be something really fun to try. Now, that'll be for later, though. Let me talk to Seth quickly now. Seth was saying way too busy to come to stream, sorry. Again, you don't need to apologize for that. I don't know. Again, I've been here for however many years now, and I mean, I myself have also been incredibly busy with the things that I have and haven't been able to do, right? So, especially ever since COVID began, my schedule's been thrown completely out of whack. But just talking strictly in terms of this. Oh, there is one last thing. I did actually skip out on last week's stream. I wasn't feeling too well. Not COVID related at all. I just had this nagging headache, and I just didn't really feel like streaming. So last week I decided, you know what, fuck it. I know, like, I've tried to force myself to stream every other week, but like last week I was really not feeling it, and I decided that it would be a good idea to just kind of take it easy for the time being. Okay, so yeah, that's what they all say. So let's go back. Really though, I don't, like, I'm lucky enough not to have it. Like, I wouldn't dare to put my symptoms as comparable to other people who actually had something so serious. Now let's go back and talk about your routine, Seth, because it's nice to catch up. Like, I haven't really had a chance to talk to you in some time. So you said that you've been really busy with real life stuff. Okay, would you like to share some of the things that you've been up to? I imagine that for starters, that you've been spending a lot of time with Miss Green Cable. It just doesn't have a very nice ring to it. I feel like Miss Purple. Yeah, I kind of like that actually, Miss Purple. Anyway, the soon-to-be Miss Purple. No, you haven't been. So you haven't really been spending. Oh, hey, look, Amal. All right. So you have not even been spending too much time with her, and yet you've been super busy. Again, I expect as much sooner or later. I expected sooner or later that you would want to. I expected that sooner or later you would have a pretty busy schedule. I didn't know when, but at some point I knew you would. And actually, that kind of also got me thinking too. Like, I don't really see the old guard as much as I used to, I realize, either. Although that's also partially because my schedule's been thrown out of whack, and I've been, like, especially in the last year, I've been just really, like, I've been really inconsistent with streaming, and I just have been prone to disappearing just because that's kind of the way my routine works at this point. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, that is life, I'm afraid, but it's still nice to have you on board with us. They broke up with me a week after I told you. Oh, seriously? Oh, shit, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I was totally of the mindset that it would go for longer than a week. School, medical, physical therapy, neurology, cooking. Cooking? Interesting. Well, that's a new one. Oh, what is neurology, though? Fine, bro, we never even met. So, it's the... Huh, interesting. Well, how did that happen, I wonder? Why? Javar is saying that he wants an Iron Jade bong. Brain stuff, I see. Huh. Try to figure out what's wrong with you. Oh, man. That is kind of scary that you have to go through so much therapy so young in your years. Hey, by the way, ZZZ. D2D2, I'm here for my bi-weekly 30 mods runs. Okay, look, last week I wasn't feeling it, okay? Like, not even not feeling it. I just had this, like, I just wasn't in a good condition to stream. Like, I had this pretty big headache, and I'm like, no, dude, I need to get some rest, like right now. No, hey, Baldies. Yeah, sorry, someone sounds like they have a clothespin on their nose. Yeah, my allergies are flaring up. Probably tied to the change of seasons. And also I just woke up. So I sound a little bit more nasally than usual, but also for whatever reason, I feel a little bit off. He already died from COVID once, yes. Yeah, but no, definitely not COVID. Thank you though for your concern, but I'm not sick. I'm just not in peak condition. It seems like. Starting this stream, I thought I was actually in pretty good condition. I mean, I'd taken a short nap just before this, because I figured that I'd be here for the long haul. However, I won't actually be here for... I was hoping to do 45, 55 runs, make it to run 800, but as it turns out, I do have plans later this evening, and I do have to take a call at a little past 10. So I'm probably going to be here for about 3.5 hours. Yeah, so 3.5 hours, which will indeed, as ZZZ had himself said, amount to something like 30 mausoleum runs. Probably around 35. It'll probably be around run 780. And at this point in the season, I have to evaluate certain things, so this is going to be good. Next, well, how should I say this? So tomorrow, after today, I'm going to be at run 780. That means there's 220 runs left. I don't know when the next ladder reset will be. They haven't actually announced it yet for Slashdiablo. They're going to need to choose their timing very carefully too, I imagine. With Project Diablo 2 being a thing, or maybe they don't care about that at all. It doesn't really matter too much to me myself. Like, of course, in my case, I'll end up playing Slashdiablo over Project Diablo if that's what it comes down to. But of course, that might be something they might consider, and other things too. But my point is, yeah. So I don't know if they're planning to. When exactly they're planning to do the reset. I imagine it's going to be in late November, and if it is indeed going to be in late November, that means I have something like 5 weeks remaining. 5 weeks for 220 runs is absolutely doable. I'm definitely going to need at least one extra stream, though, at some point. 1 or 2 extra streams. Definitely one of these weekends I'm going to have to do a long stream. Like, I'm going to have to do an extra stream. I was actually planning to do that on Monday because it was Thanksgiving, but I got sidetracked with other things. But yeah, maybe Remembrance Day might be good. Remembrance Day, gotta remember the good old days of D2 by doing some good old Moz runs. But yeah, like, I gotta pick out one of the days. I'll let you guys know about that later on down the line. But my point is basically just that, yeah, I do want to finish these 1,000 runs, and unlike with the WSK2 runs, I'm actually in a really good position, and I've got a really good routine going to finish the mausoleum runs, and then after that, I mean, I think that'll be it. Like, I don't really think that I'll be rich enough to go anywhere with this build beyond that. After the end of the season, I might just play it. After that, I might just do a few more a bunch more 4-1s just for shits and giggles. I don't know if I'm going to do that on stream or off stream or whatever, but for me, I think that would be more, I don't know, maybe more interesting even, because if I can't really finish my character, like, what am I going to do, right? Like, I could grind out keys for Enigma just before the next ladder reset begins, but I also do feel like it would be nice to kind of take a break from the grind and put myself in a good mental state to be ready for the grind for next season, where I'll be doing a completely different grind, and I think that that's just something that's going to be worth hyping myself up over. Another booty call, yeah, something like that. Break is the best call. Yeah, I don't know if you're being genuine about that or not, but yes. And besides, I think you and I, especially ZZ, we really like 4-1s. Like I really like 4-1s. To be honest, what is next season? Any thought? Oh yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing this topic up, PD2. That was actually going to be the central focus of my commentary for today, and I wanted to share some thoughts I had about Project E2. But that's going to be later on down the line, and I wanted to talk about my my roadmap going into next season, because this is going to be. Oopsies, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to drop it. Yeah, so, yeah, basically I want to finish my 200 plus some runs, and then I want to do some 4-1s just for fun. You're taking a break yourself? Alright, that's fair, which is surprising. How did your barb turn out, by the way, ZZ? Feel free to enlighten me on how the barb turned out. I know you were... Oh, unique ring! Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, let's check it out. Unique ring? Let me guess, mantled heal. Oh, wow, I was right. Okay, well that's not worth turning down as a drop. I've been doing a lot of the cooking because my dad has been working extra hours. My sister, who normally takes over cooking, has been with her boyfriend more, and my mom can't cook for shit. Oh wow! Oh man, that is interesting. That usually doesn't. Well, that is interesting. Well. Okay. Well, that's good. That's actually good. I think it's awesome that you're learning how to cook. It also means that you yourself are being given more responsibilities, which means, again, that's another step to, well, I mean, I guess they're just, well, letting you learn something new, right? Like, that's something new to add to your skill set, but also it's going to be another useful, handy life skill that a lot of the, well, a lot of it's just going to come in very handy. I mean, I would imagine like the day will come where you're going to have to live by yourself, where you're going to be hanging out with your own significant other, and then at that point, yeah, probably it'll be nice to be like, hey, I actually know how to cook a thing or two here and there. Hey, Home3 Watcher, nice to see you. Came back to us. Feels good, man. Yeah, sorry. Last week I was intending to, like, you know, I was planning to stream as always, but I had a headache, I think, on Wednesday. I wasn't feeling it. I was like, alright, one week off won't kill me. I'm definitely not in a good shape to be streaming, so I decided I was going to rest. And that's the awesome thing about doing these irregular streams. Like, I try to do it once every Wednesday as much as possible, but at least I'm not locked down to every, like every Saturday or something like that. Yeah, always break before the reset. Yeah, it's true. I'm on board with that. I mean, like, in the past, I think, like, the season with my barb, I didn't take a break just before the new season, which I think was totally okay. Like, it turned out okay. Same with the martial arts sin. No, but the martial arts sin was one big break. But like the even like the melee barb season was fine. Like, I didn't take a break going into the next season, but it was still it was fine. But this season's a little bit different. I think I've really been grinding out in Mausoleum. And while I'm not like super bored of running a Mausoleum, it hasn't really been the most exciting thing either. It's not like I can walk out of a day with like a huge haul under my belt of things I've gotten. It's not like I'm walking out with torches or anything exciting like that. It's really just a bunch of dry streaks with the occasional purple thrown in here and there. And with 0 oranges under my belt, I am of the mindset that these runs have by and large been incredibly draining, and really next season I should just veto that for now. Also next season I want to spend more time in Discord with other people. I don't know. The thing is, like, I don't want to be... It's hard to be on Discord with people, like, people on Slash, right? At the same time that I'm talking to you guys, like, it's something that I've always struggled with. It's really, like... And I'm not talking about, like, people... Talk about, like, some of the ones that I don't talk to as regularly. People like Dan, people like, even like Corey and whatnot. Like, it's nice to chat with them for sure every now and then, but it's also kind of awkward, for sure. and having to juggle conversation. I try my best, obviously, but I don't know. Next season, it would be nice to spend more time on Discord. But anyway, this is just rambling at this point, or yada yada yada. Okay, learning how to cook. I'm actually the best cook in my family. Really, really, really. You're the best cook in your family. By what measure, Seth? Not saying I doubt you, but in order for you to refer to yourself as the best cook in the family, somebody must have given you that title, I would imagine. The ladder was pretty dead, and I figured I would rather save the bar for another day. I did some theory crafting on the most budget day 1 CE necro. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Had to blow my nose. Yeah. There we go. So, also been theory crafting a paladin. I might go on H-down reset and push to 99. Yo, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty freaking cool. I'll tell you something. Maybe I'll save this for a little later, because I'd rather talk. I don't know if Baldiz is around, but I do want to talk about Project Diablo 2. But I did some on my spare time. I think it was even last Wednesday. I didn't stream last Wednesday, but I went and finally took some time to go and on my own time just do some theory crafting on Chaos Sanctuary and doing P4-1, and I can talk about my findings and results, the verdict of my tests at that point in a little bit. You're always around. Okay, good. Nice to have you on board with us. Definitely gonna need you for next season too, if you're around. But just for this season, though, let's talk about. Let me just finish off here with the rest of what was going on, of what people were talking and asking about. Thanks for joining, by the way, ZZ, Seth, On3 Watcher, and Baldiz. Much appreciated. Nice to have some company for these runs. But yeah, Seth, that's really cool. I'm glad that they do consider you to be their best chef, or maybe they're trying to butter you up so that they don't have to do the cooking, and they're trying to just con you into cooking. I don't know, one of the two. Evil plans. A very cynical line of thinking. Anyway, no. For real though, I'm sure you really are a good cook from what it sounds like. What else did I... Oh yeah, I didn't actually pick up this jewel. So just playing this Heroes video, and this guy forgot Month of the Plague. Yeah, well, I mean, what can I say about that? So, end of the VOD from 2 weeks ago. What's that poison facet worth? Anything? Well, to tell you the truth, under normal circumstances, this poison facet, especially if it's green, would be somewhere like 1.5 plus, probably around 2 ohms, I could say comfortably. But to tell you the truth, at this point in the season, I don't really care much for selling my items anymore. It's become increasingly apparent to me that I'm just not going to be getting Enigma this season. I think that's just plain and simple. Unless a Jaw and a Bird were to fall from the sky, or I were to find like a Griffin's or a Death's Web, it simply is just not going to happen. I don't really know what more to say than that, as much as I hate to say it. I gotta be honest here, and my honesty is simply that no, D2D2, this is not gonna happen. That I'm just not gonna... Ooh, this branches out into 2 different sides. Okay, let's do this one first, and I'll do the other one after. Anyway, yeah, even if I were to try and sell my poison facet, which again, traditionally has been somewhere... I think it's 1.5 to 3, but... anything, like, basically, I've seen it go up to 3, but, like, 1.5, 1 to 2 is probably the most it goes for on a regular basis, as somebody who's played plenty of seasons, even as, like, 2 seasons as Poison Necro, and who's had to sell Poison Facet before, yeah, usually 2 ohms, or 1 to 2 ohms is the reasonable range. This is one of the very few prices that I can say with relative certainty that, yeah, like, alright, yeah, it's not going to be going much higher than that. Which is still pretty good. Like, 1 to 2 ohms, like, I'll take it. Color matter just for style? Yeah, exactly. It does... It does sometimes matter, like, for some people it does. For me it would. Like, if somebody were to put up, like, yeah, strictly for style. It's just for style. Obviously, if you're a Poison Nectar, you probably want a green facet in your 250D web. Yeah, like, even right now, what's his name? Laws, Los, he is trying to sell... Or no, sorry, he's trying to buy a 5/5 white light dye so that it matches with the rest of his shield, I think, or some shit like that, right? Like, yeah, so every now and then, if you find the right buyer, they will be willing to pay a premium on a facet if it's the right color, which is important. Anyone see Necro? Was cool. I was doing cows with a Merc with no armor, no golem, just using Merc Bug. Oh shit, using Merc Bug. Oh wow, that's so cool. And attract curse. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'll talk to you about that in a second. Let's about the theory crafting, because theory crafting is always the fun part. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Project Diablo 2, and I've really had some time to reflect on Project Diablo 2. And at first, I was kind of like, this is another Median XL. Not even Median XL, really. It looks to me like it's just going to be another, like, Resurgence / POD. Like, it doesn't really seem that, like, if I'm being completely honest, it doesn't really seem that far off from... Yeah, like, I don't know how else to say this. Like, it doesn't really seem that much different from POD, Resurgence, that line of mods for the game. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone know about Slash Reset Day before we dig deep into PD2? Ah, yes, of course. Somebody you are quite familiar with how long these topics do tend to take. So what I can say is they haven't released an official... They haven't given it an official, like, day. Or there hasn't been an official announcement regarding the day for the Slashdiablo ladder reset, but I'm pinning the Slashdiablo to be... Like, it's always every 4 months, and the last one was in late July, so if we count 4 months forward... That's August, September, October, November, so it's probably going to be late November at some point, which is why I was saying even at the start of the stream that I feel like I can still comfortably hit my goal here. Ooh, that's actually a really nice find. Yeah, that is a really nice find. Let's chart that down as a drop. 11 poison res, 16 life. 11 poison res, 16 life SC, and then this is run number 750, I think. Yes, good, perfect. All right, good shit. So what was I saying here? Slashdiablo ladder reset date. So yeah, it's probably gonna be late November. That's why I was saying at the start of the stream I can probably comfortably do all my runs of Mausoleum. Just off of doing like 50 runs a week at this point, and just to be like just to be certain that I can hit 50 runs a week, I'll probably do like a special feature stream one of these weekends, maybe do like 75 runs or something. Probably, like, I'm thinking Remembrance Day would be a good time to do it. Good old holiday, or maybe like I don't know. Maybe I'll just feel like doing it on some random weekday. I don't know. I have to figure all that out. Like, I don't know my schedule for sure, but it'll be good to try and give that a go. Special stream. Yes, that's right. Oh yeah. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Yeah, much appreciated. I know that I think in America you guys have a different Thanksgiving day from when we do. But in terms of the special stream, yeah, it's gonna be like, you know, a stream that it's like an extra stream. I'm not even gonna call it a special stream, just an extra stream compared to my usual once a week routine, because yeah, like right now I'm pushing a maximum of 50 runs a week, maybe like 55, right? But like 50 runs a week, that's like 5 weeks to get me another 250 runs, and by then Slashdiablo might have its ladder reset, but yeah, I'm thinking they're probably going to be pushing for late November, so yeah, I'm expecting it to be late November is when they're going to have their next reset. Probably November the 20. Wait, no, sorry, I'm looking at. Actually, yeah, November 20, maybe November 27. I don't know if they care about the fact that Project Diablo 2 is coming out. If they're going to try to adjust their reset base, since they don't want to conflict with that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they care. I mean, there's never really a good time to do a reset. There's always going to be people who get left out. Okay, so that's what I can say about the Slashdiablo ladder reset. And I know this is a bit abrupt, but actually, before I start going fully in depth about Project Diablo 2, I actually just realized I probably should go to the bathroom first and before, so that I can have my full conversation with you guys after I take care of that. Stopping by before bed. Hope all's well, my man. Oh, sounds good. Yeah, LeBron, much appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. Nice to have you on board with us. No bathroom, you're grounded. Yes, I'm. Yeah, I'll just, just pee in a bottle. That's how we roll. Oh, whoa, that was. I got pulled out of bear form because I took too long on this run. But anyway. Yeah, there are some thoughts I had about Project Diablo 2. Yeah, I've given it a lot of thought, well, some thought, and that's definitely a topic I want to talk about, but I'd rather give my full thoughts without interruption, because I think this would be a good stopping point quickly for me to use the bathroom, and then I'll come back and then go into a full-blown rant about Project Diablo 2, talk a bit about that, and then don't worry, ZZZ, we'll talk about theory crafting in a little bit, because I know you love that kind of thing, and, I obviously enjoy it too, so, yeah, don't go anywhere, not trying to ignore you guys, I'll be right back, sorry.
Push my buttons, come and let me know. The wheels speed dial, put the time on hold. Glass half empty, but tonight so full. Just call me up, that's a brand new phone. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Got a brand new phone. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Trying to find that gold. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Got a brand new phone. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Trying to find that gold. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Got a brand new phone. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Trying to find that gold. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. Got a brand new phone. Side on the corner, feeling brand new dope. My friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind. I keep talking about you all the time, all the time. I can't help but treat you like you're mine, like you're mine. Yeah, my friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind. I keep talking about you. I'm so fucking mad, I know, yeah. 'Cause you're driving me insane. Don't you say I never told ya. Loving you is such a waste of my time, such a waste of my life. Thanks for breaking my heart. And those feelings that we both had when I leaned in and you pulled back and you said that I can't have your love. My friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind. I keep talking about you all the time, all the time. I can't help but treat you like you're mine, like you're mine. Yeah, my friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind, lost my mind. I've been different since I met ya. All my friends, they say I've changed, and I've been trying to forget ya, yeah. But you've been stuck inside my brain. Such a waste of my time, such a waste of my life. Thanks for breaking my heart. My friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind. I keep talking about you all the time, all the time. I can't help but treat you like you're mine, like you're mine. Yeah, my friends all say I lost my mind, lost my mind. My friends all say I lost my mind. Yeah,
on the booze, cause whenever there's a cute girl, my brain hits the snooze. I got a prickle on my skin. I can play a violin, sing a serenade. Wow, summon flowers from my sleep. So caught up in your smell, down to whatever you say. Girl, I know we just met, but you make me speak français. Salut. Oui. Je t'aime. Très bien. Oh, do you know who I am? You make me speak français. Feels like we're in Paris, away from our parents. Kind of a chain smoker, but with you I wanna do better. Never been a go-getter, but I wanna get with you forever, ever. Cause you're not just a cute girl in my room. Never. Feels like we're in Paris, away from our parents. Kind of a chain smoker, but with you I wanna do better. Never been a go-getter, but I wanna get with you forever, ever. Cause you're not just a cute girl in my room. Never. I got a prickle in my skin. I can play a violin, sing a serenade. Wow, summon flowers from my sleep. So caught up in your smell, down to whatever you say. Girl, I know we just met, but you make me speak français. Salut. Oui. Je t'aime. Très bien. You're not just a cute girl, don't get me wrong. I love your face, you're beautiful. You ain't just a cute girl, you're my world. When you dance with me, make me sweat, make me speak. You make me feel I can do whatever I want. I fear no harm when I stare at the sun. I feel so noble with you on my love. My will so strong, only limits the sky. I've been a nice day, I've been like, no way. Now, every day, you make me speak français. Salut. Oui. Je t'aime. Très bien. Girl, I know we just met, but you make me speak français. I got a prickle in my skin. I can play a violin, sing a serenade. Wow, summon flowers from my sleep. So caught up in the smell, down to whatever you say. Girl, I know we just met, but you make me speak français. Feels like we're in Paris, away from our parents. Kind of a chain smoker, but with you I wanna do better. Never been a go-getter, but I wanna get with you forever, ever. Cause you're not just a cute girl in my room. Never. I got a prickle in my skin. I can play a violin, sing a serenade. Wow, summon flowers from my sleep. So caught up in your smell, down to whatever you say. Girl, I know we just met, but you make me speak français.
Okay, guys, sorry for the delay. That took a bit longer than I expected. I suppose... Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's go back to what y'all were talking about. Okay, so, Tyler Zimmer was saying POD is better than Project Diablo. Have you tried Project Diablo? Or are you saying that POD is better than Slash? I'm not sure which you're referring to, but either way. Yeah. So let's open up with this topic of Project. Baldiz, you're still around, right? I think you said you're always around, so I'm just gonna assume you are. So Project Diablo. I've been giving it a lot of thought. And I decided both. Oh, you funny man. I don't know. I feel like it's apples to oranges. It really depends what you're looking for. I mean, we could go into like a big fanboy argument about this, but like, I really think it depends on what you're going for. For me, I like Slash because of it's as close to the vanilla game as you can get, while still having multiplayer. Whereas POD offers a changed up experience of the game. Like it's a version of the game that is, well, different. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but a lot of people like these changes. A lot of people like the fact that it's easier also. But of course that's not quite what I'm here for. I mean, I grew up with Diablo 2. It's a game that I played for many years, and it's nice to be able to play with other people in something that's not the broken ass mess called bot.net. Don't like the idea of having teleport removed completely. Oh, seriously? Oh, did they actually remove teleport altogether in PD2? I thought that they left it for the sorceress. I was almost certain that did they fucking... Oh, man. POD teleport sucks, so complete removal would be better than POD. Oh yeah, I think we talked about this before. Of having teleport. So, this is the thing. I thought that sorceress still had the teleport skill. A Slash over POD over PD2 on Enigma for me. I mean, yeah, like having Enigma is nice. Having the option of building an Enigma is nice. Like I don't really know what more to say than that. They don't want it to be like a staple item for like every non-sorceress character. I respect that. But at the same time, too, it's like, it kind of sucks having to be forced into using some janky-ass teleport as a substitute. That's just my take on it. Besides the point, though, that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is just Project Diablo 2, like, as a game in development, like, or like, kind of my interest level in it. At first, I was kind of like, I don't really give a shit about Project Diablo 2. For a while, I was like, kind of like thinking, yeah, meh, okay, that's cool. I mean, that's a thing people were talking about, people brought it up, and I was like, alright, well, whatever. But then I realized that I've never really had the chance to play a game, or like play a mod, or on a private server, from when it first gets, like, released out to the public. BFHRGC, okay. Yeah, like, I've never actually had the opportunity to play on a server, from when it first gets created. Like, I played on Slash years after it came out, I played on POD years after it came out, and after much urging from people from this channel, right? And even at that, like... Yeah, no, that's really it. Like, I haven't actually played, much of the like other private servers, especially not just on release, and I was like, it might be nice to have the experience of seeing what it's like from the very beginning, because here's the thing, right? It's kind of like, it almost feels like a brand new game coming out, but it's not, in the sense that I feel like when the game, like when this private server first comes out, when this mod first comes out, there's gonna be a nice chance to like explore and discover the game, right? Like, you guys know how when you play a game for the first time, you get this feeling of like, oh wow, I gotta figure everything out, I gotta figure out what's good, I gotta figure out like how to build my character. And here's kind of the thing for me, like, I feel like if I play on Project Diablo 2, I'll get a chance to learn the game, I get to learn a brand new game, but it's also still Diablo 2 in some regards, right? Like, I know the characters, so I kind of carry over some knowledge from Diablo 2, but I actually have a chance to try playing a brand new game, and I'm on the same playing field as everybody else, because we don't actually all know exactly how it's going to be. And especially because this is the first ever season, and you know, they're basically, I feel like while the game is in its like infancy, I guess, like it'd be nice to kind of jump in on the hype train and kind of see what the game's about, and just be able to see how I measure up to the other people who play on Project Diablo 2 as well. All right, so that's what I'm gonna say. I'm thinking that when they do release Project Diablo 2, I will probably take some time to play on Project Diablo 2. I don't think I'm gonna take any. I'm gonna like reserve a weekend for like I do for Slash. For Slash, next ladder reset, absolutely, I'm reserving a weekend and then some, right? Like that's always gonna be a thing. However, it would be nice to kind of play on Project Diablo 2 and just kind of see like build up my character, see how far I get, etc., etc. And especially because they've got some really cool skills. They really do have some skills that I think are pretty fucking awesome. Like for example, I don't remember the name of the skill, but the sorceress has a new ability where she can throw a fireball in an AoE, like every direction, kind of like a fire nova. You know how there's like a frost nova and like a nova in the lightning skill tree. Well, now there's one for fire, and you know I think it's a really cool looking skill. And then they've of course reworked meteors so that it comes down more quickly and a bunch of other stuff. It would be actually nice to kind of to try these things and see. Now these are things that Path of Diablo went and did. Yeah, so these are things that Path of Diablo also went and did, but at the same time, Path of Diablo has been out for a while. Like, I don't really have much incentive to play Path of Diablo. Like, it's already something that a lot of people have spent a lot of time figuring it out. It's not something super new. And of course, as I've expressed many times, I really don't agree with their balancing schema on a lot of the things for POD. But with Project Diablo 2, it'll be brand new, and I'll actually have a chance to form my opinion from the ground up for Project Diablo 2. So for me, I thought it was worth giving it a shot. It's kind of like, basically, I'm not going to go out of my way to spend a lot of time on it, unless it turns out to be super freaking awesome, and then maybe I will. But I simply just don't see this happening. But I would at least like to have the opportunity, because I don't know if I'll ever have the chance to do this again. I want to have the opportunity to try Project Diablo 2 as a brand new mod for the game. Yeah, I mean, just look at Resurgence and Path of Diablo. Those have been out for a while, and you know, people have known them for, like, they've been out for a while, so people know them. They build the types of characters they want. They try different characters out every season, yada yada. But you know, like, they kind of have a general idea of what's there in the game, what's changed, how maps have been modified, how the items work, what items are valued. Project Diablo 2, probably people won't have a fucking clue what's what, and there's going to be a lot of rage and anger and yada yada yada, but I don't know, that will be fun to try and work out, because it might be an interesting new experience. So that's what I'm going to say. Hopefully that answers your guys' questions on how I feel about Project Diablo 2, and that's, I guess, more or less the reasoning that I had, kind of the, I kind of want to give it a try. Especially because, for me, like, I'm playing a lot of, I've played a lot of Slashdiablo already this season. Like, every stream that I do is Slashdiablo, and it might be nice to try and switch things up, just so that you guys can see something new, see me try this, and then I'll give you guys my take on it, like, because there's going to be a lot of, like, I'm going to assure you right now, there's going to be a lot of streamers who are probably going to be like, oh wow, this is actually a really cool mod, right? Like, that's probably what's going to end up happening. But in my case, I'm kind of like, I feel like I have a very different, maybe not very different, but I have a, I don't know. I'm more of a Diablo 2 purist in a way. I don't like to. I mean, I'm not trying to say like Slashdiablo is like the pure D2 experience, but I prefer the gameplay being as close to the original as possible. Obviously, I say this as I proceed to play through the game with fucking map pack, multi-boxing, and no drop zero, but at the same time, it's also like, none of the skills have changed, none of the items have changed, save for Annihilus, and maybe the Gull Rune, but that's its own topic, and so on, right? So yeah, so for me, like, maybe I'll see the Enigma, like, maybe I'll find out that, oh, they nerfed Enigma and Infinity into the ground, and Sorceresses are still completely dominant, in fact, even more dominant than before. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, like, that'll be... I might have a very different mindset from how other people see Project Diablo 2, much in a similar way to how Path of Diablo, if you guys recall, a lot of people love Path of Diablo, right? Like, I don't think I've seen too many streamers say bad things about Path of Diablo, right? Like, there's lots of people who like streaming it, there's lots of people who like streaming it on a regular basis, and even right now, I think there's even more people streaming freaking Path of Diablo than Botnet. That should tell you something about how people feel about Path of Diablo, right? Is it because Path of Diablo is better? Well, that's, you know, that's a topic for another time, but of course I feel like, you know, a lot of people stream Path of Diablo because they themselves like it, which is fine. But I guess my point here is that I kind of have the majority, or sorry, I'm kind of in the minority in that I don't really enjoy Path of Diablo myself as much personally. Yeah, right? Like, but other people, the majority of people that I've talked to, interacted with, that they actually, or at least they enjoy Path of Diablo at the very least. I enjoy some of the gimmicks in Path of Diablo, but beyond that, I can't really play it for more than a day before I decide to bow out for the season. Like that's what I mean when I say I'm in the minority and I'm, I guess, a Diablo 2 purist. More or less, the closer we can stay to vanilla, I guess, the more it piques my interest, at least from my experience. But hey, maybe that'll change with Project Diablo 2. I don't know. Is a cult? Well, I mean, I'm not going to speak for the people who play on that server, right? Like, I don't know them super well, but what I can say is I met a lot of people who enjoy yeah, no, I've met far more people who like POD more than dislike it. That's more or less what I'm trying to say, I guess. And I just happen to fit into the dislike. I wouldn't even say I dislike POD. I think it's okay. I think it's good for the casuals, but it's just okay for me. Well, I don't know about brainwash. Like I feel like, you know, maybe it's kind of like what is it, positive feedback loop? I forgot the term for it, but maybe, like, okay, yeah, there's people who play on Path of Diablo, they hear people say, oh wow, this is such a great server, and then they go onto it and they're like thinking, is it? And then they are like, oh well, everyone else is saying it is, and I'm having a lot of fun, so it's a great private server. Maybe that's the case. But for me, the way I see it is, you know, if they play on that private server and then they're like, oh shit, I'm having a lot of fun with it, then of course they're going to have a generally positive opinion about it, right? And for them, if they have fun and they have a positive experience, then great, right? Like, the majority of people, I think, who go on that private server say to themselves, hey, yeah, this is pretty fun. But then, of course, there's players like us who are not quite in that same boat, who don't enjoy it as much, and I think that's totally okay too. I guess just the point I'm trying to make here is, if I feel this way about about Path of Diablo compared to a lot of, like, the majority opinion that Path of Diablo is a fantastic mod and yada yada yada, then it might very well be the case that I try Project Diablo 2, a lot of people love it, and then it turns out that I play it, I'm like, man, this is the worst mod I've ever fucking played. Like, I'd rather go back to Median, right? Like, that's all I'm trying to say. Whether or not, you know, they're a cult, or they, you know, Path of Diablo is a fantastic or a shitty mod, I don't really care much for that. Like, that's not really something we can ever prove or disprove, or like, honestly, I don't really like to try and, like, I don't want to try and label specific communities like, oh yeah, you know, they're a cult or yada yada yada. I mean, I try to look at things from kind of where I'm at, and for me, I'm like, yeah, I don't enjoy Path of Diablo that much, but that's partially because I'm not really the average D2 player. Like, I'm not really. I'm a casual D2 player in a way, but I'm not like casual to the point I play this once every 3 years and then hop on and off. You know, like I'm in a different niche, I would say. You know, talking about Slashdiablo, this server is toxic. They use the map I can have crazy drop rates. Yeah, I mean. Well, there are some things I would want to say about that, but I guess what I will say is it's kind of funny that they would say that, because they make it sound like high runes like just drop from the sky like all the time, right? And I'm kind of like, for most people, the high runes don't fucking just fall out of the sky. I've run 1,000 mausoleums, or I'm gonna be running 1,000 mausoleums, and I'll have 2 high runes to show for it, Vex and Sham. Right? Like high runes most certainly do not fall out of the fucking sky. Like, this crazy drop rates. I mean, like, yeah, we do have some pretty crazy drop rates, I guess, compared to vanilla. Like, it's still way better. Like, no matter how you want to look at it, it's way better. But I think that it does get slightly blown out of proportion. Like, you can actually go days with a dry streak on purples, and people have. Or... Hey, Nickit! Funny that you should be showing up. Let me guess, you're gonna ask me a Project Diablo 2 related question after I just had finished with my rant. Fireclaws Druid, you never disappoint. Yeah, good shit, man. But yeah, how are you doing, Nickit? Long time no see. It's nice to have you on board with us, because I know that, funny enough, we were just talking about Path of Diablo, and I know that you are a Path of Diablo guy. So yeah, good timing. But let's go back to some of the... Oh, fuck, I got cursed. That stupid XP shrine got purged off. Only thing I'm very excited about in PD2 is 4K resolution. I don't care much for 4K resolution. I don't care much for a higher resolution, to tell you the truth, just because I feel like higher resolutions just change the gameplay. Like, they give a rather unfair advantage compared to what you're supposed to have. I don't know how else to put it than that. Like, I've run this game not on 4K, but on you know, greater, like 1280 by 720 or like higher than that, and it's like I can teleport way farther, and it doesn't feel right. It feels kind of like cheating. Like, I don't know how else to put it. So I mean, a lot of people are gonna like 4K resolution. If you're cool with that, then good for you. But I myself, even if I had the option of running 4K, I probably wouldn't, just because I'd be teleported all the way over to fucking Narnia. If the increased resolution on Slash was any indicator. I'm playing Resurgence at the moment. Slash server's twin, right? Yes, that's right. That's way better. That's true. That is actually very true. It's kind of interesting how... It's actually, you know, I mean, I don't hang around Twitch or forums very often, but I do admit this is something that for some reason it slipped my mind. I've never really thought about it, but there are a lot of people who will criticize the drop rates on they'll criticize Slashdiablo's drop rates and be like, wow, these are way too noob friendly, but they don't bat an eyelash, even though Path of Diablo has the exact same, like, no drop 0 drop rate setup. Yeah, it is no drop 0 on POD. It's the same drop setting as Slashdiablo, but no one ever... I don't think I've ever heard anyone really say, damn, dude, Path of Diablo's drop rates are no drop 0. But I've heard tons of people complain that the drop rates on Slashdiablo are no drop 0. Maybe the reasoning there is, oh yeah, if Slashdiablo is such a vanilla private server, then yeah, they shouldn't have access to no drop 0. Again, I don't really care what they set the no drop rate to. Personally, I don't give a shit. What I enjoy most is just like showcasing cool unusual builds, and just having fun with it, right? Like, and just doing something silly every season, and slash for the vanilla game, and that's what. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Vanilla's lost a lot of its meaning, I would say, but for me, what I mean is just like for a version of the game that's as close to the original as I can get. Just being able to, build like a Fireclaws Druid that theoretically you would have been able to build in the original, etc., etc., without any fan-made buffs or nerfs, etc. They also have artificially increased. See, that's the thing too. I didn't mention that, but that's a thought that occurred to me. I didn't mention just now. They also do have higher like they change the way the rune drop rates work and all that jazz. But just looking from the merit of no drop 0, both Slash and POD have no drop 0, but people complain about it for Slash. Not one time have I heard someone say, "Damn, dude, Path of Diablo has no drop 0 drop rates." Maybe they would defend it on the merit that, oh yeah, it's like Slash is supposed to be a vanilla private server. They advertise it as a vanilla private server, so why do they have no drop 0? But at the same time, that's still pretty funny. That's still kind of interesting. Yeah, Green Dude never said exactly what he did, but we find way more runes than in vanilla, and proportionally more Jobber Cham compared to Vex. It's like 1 to 2 compared to 1 to 6 or whatever on BNet. Is it really 1 to 6 on BNet? I'm not sure about that. Like, here, let me actually pull up the exact drop rates. Not saying I doubt you, not trying to say one's better than the other or what, but interesting. Super density maps with level 90 monsters. Yeah, that's another thing too, but I'll go over that more in a second. Let's take a look at let me actually take a look at these drop rates. It's been a while. Let's use a cow just as, the baseline here. Probably easiest that way. All right, let's pull up a cow. Normal monster, Hell Bavine, yeah. Rune drops. Okay, so Vex is 1 in 379,000. Jarune is 1 in 600. Well, let's just use Burr. And Burr is 1 in 730,000. So you're right. It's like 1 to 2, or like 1 in 2. It's true. I just said that number out of my ass. Oh yeah, that's again, like I want to see exactly. The thing is, like, Burrune is exponentially more. Well, I shouldn't say exponentially, but it's much more valuable than a Vex rune. Not just on Slash, but even on BNet. Like a Burr is like halfway to Enigma or halfway to Infinity, whereas Vex is like, okay, you could build a Hodo, but anyway. Point is, despite the fact that Burr is worth so much more than Vex, Burr is actually only twice as rare as Vex. So when you said 1 to 6, when you said 1 to 2 compared to 1 to 6, POD Burr is worth 4 Vex. That for me is interesting. I don't really know like what. Not the ratios. It's the overall rune drop rate. On POD, you get a high rune like every 20 cow runs. Yeah, that's weird. I still don't know how they changed the drop rate. Like, I know that the rune drop rate specifically were tinkered around with. It's not just no drop they got tinkered around with, but here, one sec.
Holding tight while it lasted. I thought that we were forever. I didn't know any better. Took a second chance, trusted you again. I feel shattered.
Slash is 80. Okay, sorry, had to blow my nose again. But Slash. Okay, so I don't. 70 to 80 is my personal guess, because there are people on the server who say 1 in 50. Okay, I don't know what data set they use. I'm not going to try and discredit them, but I'll give you the data set I try to use. Strong Like Ox ran 5,000 cow runs, and I think he ended up finding frick, I can never remember the exact number. It was like 5,000 divided by, it was 70, so 71, there you go. I'm glad I didn't say 28, because that wouldn't have made any sense. 71 high runes in all that time. Something like 70 to 71 high runes. I don't even remember. I could go fetch the post if you guys really care for it. But the point is, he found a high rune roughly once every 70 runs. It was close to 70 runs. And really, that matches up to the experiences I've seen for most other people. It's usually something like 1 in every 80 runs. Like, yeah, okay, you can get really unlucky. You can go almost 500 runs dry with, like, cow runs dry without a purple. I've heard that happen from KDK. You could also just as easily, you know, do if you're Exo 5, you can freaking run like 20 or like 80 cow runs and find Jaw and Burr, right? Like, that's all a product of RNG, but I've usually seen it be like 1 high rune every 70 to 80 on average, given, like, in quotes, a large sample size. So I'd say about 70 runs will take you to about 1 high rune. Yeah, it's 2 high runes if you know what I mean. A Vex would count as 0.5. So you find a Vex every 22.5 cow runs, about what you said, I see. Taking my 2 weeks of experience on POD, I farmed cows for Enigma, got like Cham, Burr, Vex, Ohm in less than 500, then less than 100 runs. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. But yeah, like, yeah, I think it makes more sense to, like, try to look at, like, a much bigger data set, because, like, I don't know, man, like, 100 is shit. Like, ooh, that does sound pretty lucky. But I mean, what would I know? I don't know much about POD. Maybe that's lucky, maybe it's not. I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much to me. You're on Slash, I'd say Cham, Burr, Vex, Ohm is pretty damn good for fucking 100 runs. Joss or Vex. Although maybe part of the issue here, as I look at it by the number of high runes that you've gotten, like purple boxes, not again, I don't know why they call it 2HR on POD. Like, what the fuck is an HR? You know, like a high rune? Alright, but like Vex is a high rune, Ohm is a high rune. So anyway, but that's its own, I guess, discussion. Just interesting. Burr is to high rune on POD. He said 55 runs for 1 HR, so this is a messed up metric. An HR is like $1. Oh yeah, I believe that, but I mean, I get it. It's kind of like the standard, but it's our money. That's fine, but it's just high rune as a currency is just interesting. When I hear 1 HR, I'm like, so which high rune is it? Apparently it's a Sir. Sir is their Ohm. Interesting. Okay. Because for years I've been taught, brainwashed into seeing Vex, Ohm, you know, all the way to Zod, all as high runes, but now apparently it seems like no, actually Sir rune is their high rune currency. It's Sir Dato, shut up already. Wow, okay. Rude. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Reading into it too much. Yeah. Alright, well, I'll tell you what. If you want to have a one-on-one discussion and nick it, then fuck it. Go right ahead. Like, I'm just throwing, like, I'm just discussing this shit with you guys, alright? Like, relax. Ooh, 59, yes, Jewel. Ooh, this guy. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, so that's for POD, though. What else were we going... Yeah. I like those discussions. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like them too. Fuck ZZZ. and then trying to shut me down on this discussion. I see how it is. My opinion. D2D2 opinion doesn't matter. I understand. Stupid rune cube rune values like Slash. There's not much difference between Vex and Sur. Yeah. Is that just because like Enigma and Infinity aren't like staples for every build? You even made a post about it a while ago, a long time ago, right? Like, more or less, most of these runes are valued relative to Burr and Jaw. Well, Burr specifically. Like, Sur is like, 2 Surs is a Burr on this server. The interesting thing is 2 low. This is one of the ones I've never understood. 2 lows don't make, like, aren't valued at a Sur, right? Like, or a Sur isn't valued at 2 lows, but and a low isn't valued at 2 ohms either, but because they are the Herodric cube recipe chart. Tell you our complete values roughly. Jaw 3. Okay, so Jaw is worth 3, but why is Jaw worth 3? Like, what could you really use a Jaw for that you need it to be 3 for? They have low over Sur. Yeah. Standard is Burr and Sur Dream. Okay, well, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that'll do it, especially where Enigma is no longer. Well, anyway. And so let's see, Vex, Cham, Zod, 1 Hyrule, HC 0.25, 1 HR, HC 0.25 SC. I don't know what that means. Oh, Zod is 1 Hyrule in hardcore and 0.25 in softcore. Huh, interesting. There's a disparity between softcore and hardcore values for Zod. That's surprising. And Vex own low Sur all close. They'll make lots of... Is that also because of they reworked the way the rune drop rates are too? Do you think that might have something to do with that? People like lots of faith and a fair amount of phoenixes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And of course, Dream. Yeah, Jaw is, now that I think about it, used in a lot of builds in POD probably, compared to like in Vanilla where Enigma was the staple for the Jaw rune, and then Boazons and all those other jank builds. Not really jank. I shouldn't call it that. Unusual builds would be taking like a backseat to all that. I do not believe they changed any drop ratios D2D2, so no. But what? I thought that you guys were saying earlier that they adjusted the way that the rune drops were, so that they were much more at least that's also something I was told, like it was made much easier. It was much easier to get like Jaw and Burr compared to in the original. It's changed, that's for sure. But of course, as Nick had said, there's no one really knows exactly how it's changed, except for, of course, good old Green Dude. Are essentially reflecting their rarities, not the cube value. Okay. The ratios aren't changed. Okay. Just more runes drop? Okay. That doesn't sound right. I mean, I could be wrong, but you know what? Let me pull this up. Path of Diablo rune drops. I'm legit curious. Like, I feel like Nickit is right, but I had nothing to base that off of. Let's see. Rune drop rate. Here we go. Alright. Drop rates are increased. No, okay, here we go. Instead of the drop rate for higher runes going down exponentially, it goes down linearly. That's what's written, which is, in retrospect, it's a bit vague. But when I see it as something like that, the drop rate for higher runes goes down exponentially, that strikes me as the runes themselves were adjusted, like their individual drop rates. Anyway, so they weren't exponential since 1.12 in vanilla. Okay. Well, either way, that's what was written there, so. Already been linear in vanilla. Look at this post. Alright. Yeah, I'm just saying what I always thought was true. Threads were rune drops buffed beyond 1.13. Alright, let's take a look. Let's see. They were significantly changed from 1.12 to 1.13a. Let's see. 1 out of X. 30, 60, 60, 100. 30, 60. Wait, what the hell? Okay, there we go. 1.13b. Okay, here it is. Here's the chart. This makes a lot more sense now. 34, 51. Alright. Well, either way, I'm not gonna go into all those, but so 3 Vex for 1 bird. In BOD, it feels more 2 Vex for 1 bird. Going from 1 in 500 for Is to 1 in 1500 for bird is not exponential. The 3 Is for 1 bird and 2 Vex for 1 bird. Okay. Well, what even led us to this discussion anyway? Basically, it sounds like the thesis of what you're trying to say is that their rune drop rates actually make sense, given their relative rarities in POD. Yada yada yada. All right, cool. So. Yeah, more runes drop, yes. Okay, great. What else were we talking about earlier, though? So, Project Diablo 2, so we talked about that. How do we even end up here? Yeah, I don't even know how we ended up in this discussion in the first place. We were originally talking about Project Diablo 2 and how I kind of wanted to give it a go, and then he turned them all up after Paul or something. Alright, cool. But yeah, we were talking about Project Diablo 2. I went on my little, not really rant, but I went on my plans for what I plan to do for Project Diablo 2, and also kind of my plans going in towards the end of the season. So that's going to be that. But one of the big things I wanted to talk about was also the theory crafting I did off stream on trying to make a sorceress that can viably do. They can viably 4-box Chaos Sanctuary without using Blizzard. That was the other thing, because this was something that we talked about, mainly because, like, it would be cool to avoid using a Blizzard sorceress, especially this was something that Coaster had brought up. He was pretty adamantly like, Blizzsork, and kind of, I mean, again, I don't want to just cater to Coaster specifically or anything like that. I just his disdain for the Blizzard sorceress really got me thinking that maybe it might be possible to try and run Chaos. Like this is us switching topics, of course. By the way, I don't know if I sorry, just gotta step back quickly. I mean, if you guys have other stuff to talk about for Path of Diablo, go right ahead. Like, I'm not trying to shut you guys down or anything. I just yeah, like I think the original thing I was just trying to say was just that Path of Diablo. One of the observations we had to make was that, like, there's... I think we went on a lot of tangents, but originally we were just talking about how rune drop rates for Path of Diablo, like they got people cite like no drop zero as a thing on Slash, but not on POD and yada yada yada, and then we end up branching out and talking about all those rune drop rates and blah blah blah. But yeah, so you were talking about CE Necro. That's true. You were talking about CE Necro. True. Would you rather? Yeah, I should probably address your CE Necro stuff before I talk about my my findings with the, not really findings, but my theory crafting with the Blizzsork, I guess. So let's actually talk about that first. I think that would make more sense. Okay, so you gave up on the barbed ladder was pretty so this was way earlier. The most budget day 1 CE Necro. Day 1 CE Necro was cool. I was doing cows with a Merc with no armor and no golem, just using Merc Bug and a Track Curse. Alright. Then I maxed Bone Armor with all the points I saved from the golem stuff to tank some random hits. And you also did some math on the real damage of Obedience versus Insight, and Insight is not far behind. Definitely better for Necro to avoid cold damage. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Obedience versus Insight. Now that's an interesting point. I think there's been people in the past who have run numbers on it. I don't know how accurate their numbers are, but there's definitely been a lot of people in the past who have gone on. I don't remember the thread here. Let me Merc weapon Infinity versus Insight. I don't remember off the top of my head, but what is the best Infinity weapon? Here you go. This was the one of the threads I'd seen a while ago. Now, of course, actually, no, this is the best Infinity weapon. Yo, I'm misreading this. Okay, hold on. There was Insight versus Insight. I remember somebody on Slash I thought did Infinity versus basically there were people who were saying like, okay, Insight gets used as like an early game Merc weapon. But in reality, because it has plus to critical strike, it also holds its own as an endgame weapon as well. That does a pretty significant amount of damage. Maybe not as much like on screen damage, but obviously like there's more to how much a Merc can do than just on screen damage. Crit strike is obviously gives you a huge boost to damage, or gives your Merc a huge boost to damage. So if you can proc that, then that's great. So basically, like a high roll on ED, high roll crit strike, Insight on a Merc is even viable for like close to end game setups, from what I heard. But anyway, that's something that I'd heard a while ago. With that said, though, Obedience versus Insight, Insight is not far behind. So, you did some math on Obedience versus Insights, and you could stay golemless for a long time. So why would you want to stay golemless, exactly? Just the Insight Mark until you get BOTD. Infinity is worse than BOTD. Yeah, I can see why you'd say that. BOTD hits much harder. Actually, I shouldn't say much harder, but it certainly hits harder. But I think a lot of people have on Slash have opted to run Infinity instead, because Conviction Aura helps with CE and it certainly helps more with monsters and yada yada. But I mean, maybe you've run the math and you've decided that that's actually not the case. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm still quite surprised that you go golemless. But really, you don't need BOTD on CE Necro for P1 cows. You just put everything towards Enigma. Yeah, well, I mean, naturally. If you need that for your final build and go from there, don't use any golem, just Insight Merc to victory, then okay. So just skip out on an Insight Golem? Like, what do you replace that with then? I mean, I guess you can go Bone Armor, sure, but like, then you just don't use a Golem altogether? Golem is a waste of time, slows you down trying to even have it, Infinity Radius sucks and auras have delay. It's useless with CE in real practice. Yeah, that is a good point, actually. There's definitely that delay on when Infinity actually procs, because it does have like a... The game checks for Infinity, the presence of Infinity Aura once every 2 seconds, and then of course there's the AoE, right? Like, it's got like a 13.3 yard radius, I believe, for Conviction. So it's kind of like... it does have its limitations. It sounds good on paper. It might sound good. Like, again, I don't run CE Necro, okay? Like, I don't want to fuck with that stupid fucking build. Like, and again, like, even calling it, anyway, whatever. Like, I don't fuck with CE Necro. I think it's still, at the end of the day, it's just, it's a fucking dumb build. Not really dumb build, but it's just not a build that's particularly interesting for me personally. But yeah, like, based off of what I've seen other people use, like, yeah, a lot of them like to run Infin, but, you know, you've got a point. Like, yeah, it's like, alright, well, your Merc runs that 1 pack of cows. If you're trying to kill, like, 5 packs of cows, your Infinity's not actually going to proc on all of those packs of cows. That's just how it works. Infinity Radius sucks. And it's useless with CE, but the main issue is the radius. Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what I was even. Well, yeah, main issue is radius. Yeah, the radius is. I think the radius, I would imagine, is the biggest issue. Like, you're never going to be able to hit all the cows that you need with it. So it's like, why really bother? But I don't know if I'd agree with the you know, Golem being a waste of time and slowing you down even having it. Hey, Colin. Colin was saying Honor of Lance is GG for level 29. Yeah, but we're not really... well, I think we're talking mostly about, like, day 1, if you have, like, a level 60 Necro, which, you know, that's where a lot of people end up by the end of day 1. You got, like, a level 60 Necro, and you gotta get your Merc set up, and you need to get yourself up and running, then you're probably going to want a Merc, and that Merc is probably going to be rocking like an Insight of some kind, is more or less the setup that Aziz's going for. You're using Bone Wall. Okay, so Bone Armor is the point sync, then yes, for cows this is like pure HP. Okay. Bone Wall for cows. Okay, yeah, Bone Wall. Oh, well, yeah, Bone Wall for cows. If you have Insight, Merc, Golem does nothing, so it is a waste of time. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, that actually kind of makes sense. The reason why I think of Golem is like, okay, this might actually be useful is because, like, it's another summon, and it soaks up hits. Kind of like here with me and my, my good old Fireclaws Druid, right? Like, I have my bear. It might seem like a waste of time to have the bear, but for me, it, like, serves as a second meat shield. But with your CE-Mancer, this might not be the case, because you have Attract, and you have the Bone Armor. So if for some reason a stray cow decides to find its way over to you and start whacking you, well, you've got Bone Armor to protect you. And of course, I mean, this is considering that they completely bypass the Attract that you would hypothetically be casting. Which I think they might, actually. Because there's only a set number of cows that can attack one attracted monster at a time. Once some cows realize they can't target that specific cow, they might look for the next available target, which might happen to be you. Or one of your summons, but anyway, it was super effective. Okay, that's good. Good to hear that you have found a build to become a 1%er, although frankly, it sounds to me like you're probably going to be using this not really to try and farm wealth like I would, but probably just so you could build up your Enigma and then start rocking that hammered and going straight up with it. Spam Attract, it's very effective in different areas. Yeah, I believe that. No, yeah, no. Necromancer's like 1-point wonder tree is a 1-point wonder tree for a reason. I've been using Attract, Division, what's the other one? Confuse for a really long time. even back in the BNet days. And they're curses that get slept on just because I think, like, by the time you reach an endgame build, you don't really have much of a use for them, and most people just don't really think to use them any earlier for whatever reason. At least from my experience. I guess it's because they value amp too much, or they want to put their points everywhere else. I don't fucking know. But yeah, like mind control curses are super useful. I mean, multiple groups. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Want a budget CE Necro video up on YouTube by this time tomorrow? What, you or me? I'm not fucking doing a budget CE Necro video. Fuck that, dude. But if you do, hey, like, hook me up, like, or sign me up. I'll watch. Sure, why not? Good old take from the mighty ZZZ. He who knoweth all the numbers and the maths behind all. I'm giving you $1 million ideas here. Big ad revenue. No, dude, I don't fucking know. Ugh, disgusting. Don't even need to credit me. Ah, it's tempting, but I'll pass on it. Thanks for the idea, though, or thanks for the offer, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna start heading back down this way. Did you think about going Maggot Lair for farming? That's a really good question, Nickit. So... Yes, I did. I thought about it very minimally. That's the thing. Like, I didn't give it serious consideration. For a couple of reasons. The first reason is, given, like, the areas that I want to farm, Maggot Lair just ain't it. Like, I've talked about different areas that I want to farm in the game. You know my usual routine, right, Nickit? Like, I try to do 1,000 of every area. I'm sure you're familiar. I've done 1,000 AT, I've done 1,000 pits, I've done 1,000 chaos. I've run 5,000 lower Kuros, and now this season I'm trying to, well, last season I was running WSK, and the season before that I was running Trap. This season I'm trying to run Mausoleum. To be honest, Maggot Lair is not really something that I gave much thought to. And whenever people brought it up in the past, part of my issue with running Maggot Lair with this specific build is that it would just be ridiculously slow. I don't really know how else to put it. It would be abysmal, right? Like yeah, okay, my Mausoleum runs are pretty ass too, but yeah, like, I'd have to, like, I wouldn't be able to kill packs of monsters at a time. Like, I'd be single targeting everything, and I wouldn't really have the option of skipping monsters, and I have no real AoE. Like, at least with Mausoleum, that's not really a huge deal, because, like, the monsters are grouped together in a way where I can just click on them each once. But then with Maggot Lair, I have to do a lot of running, and it's like a bunch of one-ways. Like, I just don't think that it's very suitable for this build. That's really what it boils down to. If I had something like a Fire Sorceress, maybe, I think that would make more sense, where teleport is even more valid. Like, here already, like, it sucks not having teleport, I admit, but I can kind of get by without teleport. I have a lot of open space. The monsters are grouped up in, like, a group. But if I wanted to run something like Maggot Lair where the monsters are, like, kind of like in a line, I probably would rather use like a Bone Necro, like a CE Necro, even like a Fire Sork. Yeah, I feel like those would just be better fits overall for farming Maggot Lair, and that's even considering that I was interested in Maggot Lair, which for the most part I'm not. Maggot Lair has never really been considered a viable spot to really go and farm. Although, of course, with Fatty's recent runs of Maggot Lair, it kind of got me to really reconsider. Because as it turns out, if you take out the no drop rate on the flies, they actually have a better drop rate than most regular monsters, I think, from my understanding. But anyway. There you go. If Fatty says it's viable, I believe it. Can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. Oh, whoa, 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 what is that? Let's, 5 FHR, 10 Poison Res, Small Charm. Alright. Yeah, ripfollows.com. Yep, well, rest in pieces my chance to become a big streamer off of this random shady website that just got posted in my chat. But anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what I reasoned for Maggot Lair. PD2 is trying to make it viable. That's what made me think about it. Oh, that's interesting. They're trying to make you big money like me. Oh yeah, I'm sure you guys are really trying to look out for me and big money. Ah, dude. I mean, thanks for this follows website, but yeah, no thanks. Anyway, going back to Maggot Lair though, like they increased the size of the path, basically tripled. Okay, see, that's one of the biggest bottlenecks. I mean, no pun intended, but that's one of the biggest bottlenecks for Maggot Lair, in my opinion. Like that, there's no way to fucking get through, right? Like, what the hell is that? You live vicariously through my streaming fame? Oh yeah, I'm sure you do. Since I will never be a famous streamer like you, hey man, you never know. Get started one day, I'm sure people would love to hear your very strong opinions about, well, anything D2 related, I suppose. The thing is, I say that half in jest, but now that I think about it, probably. I mean, you have the numbers to back it up. Rune drop rates. Yeah. Well, everything, really. I'll just do nothing but look at numbers all stream and not even play. So what you're telling me then is you are a Diablo 2 theory crafter, but not actually a Diablo 2 player. Anyway, going back to PD2, going back to Maggot Lair actually. One of the things I wanted to share, Nickit, I don't know if you know, but here we go, Maggot Lair. 1,000 runs of Maggot Lair. This is from Fatty. Okay, here, let me hook you up with this. So here you go, Nickit, if you want to check this out. This is from Fatty. This was his run of, this was his results of 1,000 runs of Maggot Lair. And then he also did another 1,000 runs of Maggot Lair. And this 1,000 runs of Maggot Lair was a lot less lucky. I'd rather be the ideas man than the manual layer bot's going to take your job anyway. You know, it's funny because it's not even really bots that, like, right now bots aren't taking my job for running these. Like, there's already people who are, like, when I first started doing like 1,000 chaos, there wasn't anybody else who was like actively doing like, oh, 1,000 chaos, 1,000 AT. But now I'm like looking at, there's more and more channels that are showing up that are D2 related, where people are doing like 10,000 AT runs, that are doing like 10,000 pit runs. Yeah, and you got like Dobrunsky, I think, who also had, like, I ran like 1,000 Pindle, I think he ran like 10,000 Pindle. You know, the more I look at it, the more time goes on, I'm just like, yep, you know, if every day that passes, there's somebody else ready to do that thing, I guess, do something better than what's been done before. And then, of course, like you said, then at some point it's just going to be bots. Like, somebody's just going to run bots, and they're just going to post the results, and that'll be that. We already have people like Muse who ran simulations using shit like, what was it called again? I think he called it like a MATLAB simulation or something. I don't remember. But basically the idea was, since the rune drop rates are fixed for each monster, and the same number of monsters will always spawn in Trav, or like, you know, you get 3 or 6 chests in LK, but there's a fixed number of patterns that can show up. You can actually run some statistics to figure out how many runs it would take for a high rune to show up. Honestly, this looks decent for both runs. You got that Griffin in run 2. I didn't even realize he got in a Griffin in run 2, but anyway. It does sound decent for both runs, right? And it looks great on paper. But here's the thing that I realized. Like, at first, you know, I mean, again, I'm not trying to say Mag Lair is a good area or a bad area, but I haven't really given it serious thought. But I think after Fatty had shown me his results, one of the things that I realized looking at these results is, he's running Maggot Lair level 1, 2, and 3. Right? Like he's doing a full clear of each Maggot Lair, which is itself impressive. But if we read in between the lines, what that kind of means is he's actually doing 3 areas for 1 run, technically. And for that he has to show for that only 7 high runes total for 2,000 runs, which is obviously better than Mausoleum, that's for sure. But if your goal is high runes, if your goal even is like oranges, you're probably better off running Pits, AT, Chaos in an equivalent amount of time. Obviously, like, fun factor is a thing too, but I'm like looking at this and I'm kind of like, all right, it's kind of cool, but I don't know, like, it's not like he was swimming in high runes for farming 3,000. Well, I mean, 1,000 Maggot Lairs where he had to go through 3 areas in each run, you know? I already did that in my Trav runs. Did what in your Trav runs? Like, crunch numbers ahead of time? I mean, this was something that Muse did, I think, a while back. I think it was even the season that I was running my Barb. So, he's also a bit of a D2 numbers cruncher himself. Yeah, so you and him would probably get along quite well. You don't even know who Muse is, that's kind of funny. Yeah, he hasn't showed himself around lately, but he used to, I think back at the season where I was playing my Amazon, he was around quite a bit, and we used to do a bit of, well, I shouldn't say we, because it was mostly him. He used to crunch a lot of numbers himself, and then he used to present those numbers to me, and obviously I'm not much of a math person myself. So I could mostly just say, oh wow, that's cool. It's kind of like you guys are running like rune drop rate numbers and calculations, blah blah blah, whatever, right? But in his case, yeah, he would like talk about hypothetical, like, oh well, this is the like. He would try to calculate the exact number of runs necessary on average, obviously, for LK and cows, and he could run simulations, and he was even saying like you'd probably do the same thing for Pits, or Pits and AT, but obviously with Pits and AT there's a very dynamic number of monsters that spawn in those areas, unlike with Trav, where you're consistently getting 11 monsters to spawn in Trav, like pretty much every single time. Hey look, just in time too. Game server's restarting in 2 minutes. I'm going to chill and I'm going to talk to you guys until the server restarts, and then I'm going to continue my runs. Already we've gone through about 15 runs. The hard limit that I'm going to be aiming for tonight is going to be about 10 o'clock, so we got another 2 hours to go. Yeah, I will have to answer my booty call after that, but I guess what that leaves room for is another 20 or so runs. 2 hours, 20 runs, I think is going to be fantastic. And then after that, I will be at run 780, and that puts me in a good position to reach Well, yeah, that's one step closer to 1,000 runs, and that'll be good. Okay, right. Rated that in my travel runs. You can also know the average number of cows per run or ghosts per arcane. See, that's the other thing too, right? Like, yeah, hypothetically, you could calculate out the number of cows, number of ghosts. 400 cows and 175 ghosts, by the way. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. You don't even 400 cow. Where did you get 400 cows from? Did you like single like, did you count out the number of cows yourself, or like how did that work, I wonder? Anyway, I don't even know who Muse is. I've seen his name. You can do it for any area. Yes. Is your booty call a girl? Well, maybe. I don't need exact numbers since it's averages. Yeah, well, either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, point is, like, yeah, you can run it for any area, but for Trav and LK it's the easiest because you don't really, like, Trav and LK, you already know. You just go to Trav, you count out the number of council members. It's always going to be fucking 11 council members. And then LK, it's either going to be 3 or 6 chests. Especially if it's single player, you're probably going to go 6 chest spawn every single time. But yeah, I guess you said on average. If you're looking for an average, you do need to do a little bit more work though. You need to actually go into cows and figure out how many cows are in there yourself. Assuming that you don't get somebody else to do the grunt work for you. Like, yeah, there's plenty of sources out there that have counted out the number of cows or what, I guess. Well, I shouldn't even say plenty. Like, I don't know. I don't believe. Here, let me actually just look this up. Diablo 2, I don't know, average chaos. Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. Chaos Sanctuary, AT. Well, actually, let's just talk AT here. Diablo 2 average number of monsters in ancient tunnels. Like, you're probably not going to be finding. You're probably not going to be finding the exact number of monsters on average. I guess you could like eyeball it, but it's not as easy as with LK and Trav. That's all I'm trying to say. But that's besides the point. Googled it. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you don't know who Muse is. You've seen his name. Yeah, so that's fine. That's totally okay. But yeah, that's what I was saying. You know, you two would get along quite nicely. You like crunching numbers. He likes crunching numbers himself, and you guys would probably find a good middle line. Well, you care about minions in AT? Okay. About why minions? Nikkei was saying, I have mixed feelings about Trav. I love the area, but I also hate that they fuck up our mercs, and I never really found anything in there. Yeah, for the longest time, I'd never found anything in AT or in Trav until the season with my Barb. The season with my Barb, I found John, Burr, and Trav within 500 runs, but of course it was the end of the season, so the John, the Burr were for naught. But even so, that like Trav, I feel like, is a little bit finicky. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's fewer monsters. Maybe it's all in my head. But like for many years, I used to run Trav, and I'd never find a damn thing. And then finally, in one season, I found all of the runes from Trav, and it's mostly just Trav that has this issue. Anyway, so that's much easier. Okay, well that's fair. Yeah, so that's much easier. Well, Pog nonetheless. Okay, yeah, but it's true though. Well, I will agree with you though that yeah, Trav is very dangerous for a merc, especially if it's an under-geared mercenary. Like obviously, if it's a well-geared merc, if you're rocking like Gladiator's Bane to protect them from Hydras, etc., then yeah, all right. I mean, it'll certainly be much easier to deal with those council members. But leading up until that point, your merc is going to be kind of paper. Like day 1 Trav is doable, certainly, but probably not as easy as you would want it to be. Going back to what you were saying earlier too, I don't realize, honestly, I never did more than 50 runs of something. That's fair. That's like at least 2 times Mausoleum. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I guess the real cursor is the time spent for run. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing to consider too is what build are you using to run it, right? Like this Mausoleum, if someone asks me, mausoleum runs, they're like, hey, D2, how long, like, what have you found in your 1,000 runs of mausoleum, and how long did those 1,000 runs of mausoleum take, right? I would tell them, alright, well, each run of mausoleum is about 5 minutes on average, just as a general ballpark, and then I do 1,000 runs. That comes out to about 5,000 minutes, which is, I can't do math, so I have to run the calculation here. 83 hours. So I'll have spent a total of 83 hours on all this. And that sounds awful. That honestly sounds awful for 2 high runes. So I find a high rune once every 41 hours, basically, is what that means, right? I found Vex and Sham, and it took me about 1,000 hours, it took me 83 hours to find Vex and Sham, which, again, is pretty pathetic. But obviously the issue here is I'm using this Fireclaws Druid. If I were to run it with like a Fire Sword, I'd probably be able to get the time down closer to like a minute and a half, or somewhere in that ballpark. Probably closer to a minute and a half, I would imagine. Which is far better. If I were to say that on average the runs were 90 seconds each rather than 5 minutes each, then we have 1.5 times 1,000, which is 1,500 divided by 60. That comes out to closer to 25 hours, and 1 high rune per 12.5 hours, which is still fucking pathetic, all things considered. But I guess the point here is we gotta make sure that we use the similar metrics for measurement when it comes to the amount of time spent. What builds we're using. Obviously, you don't want to compare running cows with like a fucking hammered in versus running chaos with a 200 FCR Nova Baller. Like, that just wouldn't be a very good comparison if you're trying to figure out what the best place to farm is. In AT, I'm hitting the elites for the orange boxes, as you kids say, and I'll kill the minions, but ignore white monsters unless they're standing next to a minion tag. Okay, fair enough. If your goal is to hunt for oranges, hey, that's like, for me, fair enough. But for me, that's a completely different story, completely different ballpark. I'm looking just for. Yeah, for me, I was thinking just in terms of like hunting high runes, because if you're going to Trav, if you're going to LK, your goal is mainly high runes. And if you're trying to run a similar calculation for AT, for cows, for chaos, then there is a little bit more work that is involved in actually trying to, well, yeah, there's definitely more work that goes into figuring out the averages of how many monsters there are in each run, and then of course in the case of Chaos Sanctuary in particular, there's different types of monsters. Particularly they have ghosts, so that'll also switch things up. What else see you in AT besides oranges, not runes? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just saying, I was talking just in terms of high runes. If you want to bring orange boxes into the mix, then I feel like that's something completely, like, that's a whole different set of calculus. Yeah, you could, yeah. I mean, you'd have to like try to figure out like, all right, there's all the different orange boxes that you could get, and then you'd have to be like, all right, well, what are the odds for those? Yeah, I guess it is essentially the same. It is essentially the same. Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm still saying runes numbers. My point is, I'm only killing minions. Okay. And might I ask, why would you be hunting for oranges again? You're not grailing. Is it like for COA or D-Web, Griffs? Like, comprende? Not really, but. Well, actually, no. I get it. I get it now. What you're trying to say is you run. If you're hitting only, if you're hunting for only orange boxes, then of course you target only the minion monsters, because then they can drop shit like Templars, Tyraels, so on. Yeah, I googled AT mostly as a way of saying like with Trav and LK, it's much more consistent. You're always gonna have 6 chests if you're playing single player. You're always gonna have 11 monster or 11 council members in Trav. AT tends to range a little bit, like tends to fluctuate a bit more, right? It's not always going to be 6 chests or 11 council members. However, yes, in your case, like you said, you could just run an average, and I guess, yes, hypothetically, you could also go and hunt orange boxes instead of purples or what, but it doesn't really. If you Google the cow's number, that is actually out there. No one cares about AT density. Yeah, that's true. Because AT, probably for running AT, you're just going to be farming minions, true. But, yeah, cow's number. Yeah. You had DH. Oh, Dark Humility. Count the ghosts on his stream in Arcane. He was my data miner. That's funny. Yeah, maybe I should have taken the liberty of counting the number of monsters I killed too in Mausoleum. That might have made things more interesting, in all seriousness. But then again, it'd also be quite the chore. Kind of like you. Yeah, well, evidently, although all the streamers are my data miners. Well, you get around, don't you? Alright. Another hour and a half, huh? Yeah, I'm aiming for run 780 on this one. Maybe 775. We'll have to see. Lacquered plate. Magic lacquered plate, unfortunately. No set. Although I guess it doesn't matter. I wouldn't have been able to sell it anyway. Honestly, I was hoping for at least one orange box out of the Mausoleum. But I suppose even that is kind of pushing it. There's just not enough unique monsters. There's not enough mob density. I know, like, DJ Waters had found a D-Web off of Mausoleum in his single-player runs. But that was all... But probably, I hate to say it, but that was probably just dumb luck. Indrik is doing level 99 speedrun now, by the way. What the fuck? He died, though. Oh, interesting. Level 99 speedrun. Huh. Wow, that's actually kind of cool. So he ran out of... Well... Hey, did he ever beat... What was it called? Did he ever go sub 1 hour on the 1 minute category? Level 90 in 11 hours. Yeah, level 90 in 11 hours. Yeah, okay. I can kind of see how that might happen. I mean, like what? It takes 3 hours to beat the game. Well, sorry. It takes 3 hours for Indrik to beat the game on... I assume that this is level 99 speedrun on PX, of course. So it takes like 3 hours to beat the game. Well, this is as a Sork though. Maybe, you know what? I just realized something. Is he doing this as a Sork or as a one of the other classes? Because I would imagine he would go... No, it's got to be a Sork. He has fucking teleport. Like, he's not going to use anything other than a Sork. Let's be real here. I was saying sub 1 hour. What? Sub 1 hour. What's that thing called? P1 category in hardcore. Actually, it doesn't even matter if it's hardcore. Softcore, hardcore doesn't really matter. I wonder if he ever... Oh, sub 1 hour. Yeah, Sork, of course. Yeah, that's a dumb question. I was like, oh yeah, but he has to deal with immunities. But I was like, well, what the fuck? That doesn't even matter. Like, he's gonna run WSK, maybe. I would imagine a bit of Pindle Eldritch, to be honest. I could be wrong about that, but just a hunch. And I'm gonna guess that probably for that he could like easily do it with a Sork if he plays his cards right. He did. Okay, interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to pull that up at some point and see. He gets tons of XP shrines with single-player maps. Okay. Well, going for sub 299, sub 200 hours. So basically fewer than 10 days. That's really cool. That's actually really cool. That's pretty clever. Didn't even think about that. It's like I said, right? Indrik is the kind of person that you look to see how much you can push the boundaries of what's possible with this game. I've always found him to be a particularly interesting streamer for that. And also, besides that, he's... Yeah, no, really. Like, he just... Like, he's very creative with what he does. He's not just like, oh, I'm only going to be doing P8 all the time, or PX all the time, or P1 all the time. He's actually actively like, okay, I'm going to now try to see if I can speedrun 99. That's actually really cool. I already had this idea for sub 299 for a long time. I think I suggested it to him at some point. Yeah, and he was willing to try it out. Or he was willing to actually give it an honest shot, right? Whereas some people wouldn't even turn a... wouldn't even acknowledge the idea, because goodness forbid that you play even Players X, right? Yeah, but going back to this, you considered streaming that many times. Okay, then why don't you? That sounds fucking awesome. Are you just worried that no one will watch and that it'll be one big waste of your time? Because yeah, like, okay, no XP shrine. Why do I even bother? So yeah, like, yeah, maybe part of the issue too is it's kind of annoying to have to start up the damn stream sometimes. I don't know. But level 99 speedrun. Level 90. Then I remember I dig. This is. Sorry about that. Had my stream drop. Okay, you're back. Okay, good. Yeah, no, I don't know. It just cuts out every now and then. I don't know what's up with that, but all right. What was I saying here? Buffering. Okay. I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Okay, now. Yeah, no, I remember now. I was asking you why you didn't want to stream. Like, you spend so much time watching other people's streams and talking about how we could make the big bucks. Why don't you do it? Or why don't you give it a shot? Or not even give it a shot, but yeah, what's stopping you from streaming? Like, no sarcasm intended here. Like, legit question. Like, you don't stream. I'm curious as to why. If it's because you don't want to deal with the ZZZs of the world or what. I hate people. Okay, so. Yeah. That's fair. It's funny because you say you hate people and yet you want to hang around these like big Twitch channels like Ryu's well, I shouldn't say big, but you know, yeah, you hang around like Ryu's Twitch channel, you hang around Indrik's channel, they're pulling in like hundreds of viewers, you gotta deal with all that, and ZZZ, I hate people, ZZZs are cool, I hate the normies. Ah, I see. Yeah. Okay, I can see why, honestly. I can kind of guess why, I mean. I don't... Usually I wouldn't say this, but I don't think I need an explanation for this one. You like the individual streamers, but not their chats. I hate the community stuff. Yeah, that's fair. I see for somebody like Fatty, who always is trying to do his own thing. He doesn't really give a shit what the meta is or what other people are trying to do. He just likes to do his stuff and he likes to share his results very enthusiastically, no less, with other people in the on Slash and us. But anyway, I get it now. You love Fatty. Yeah, no, Fatty's chill. For sure. Like, no, Fatty's a really cool guy. Never really had an issue with him. Except for his insane luck, like I guess I can't really call it just insane luck because, like, to be fair, he puts in hundreds of hours into the game, like a month, right? And then he, of course, he won't generally go and talk a lot about the lowlights of his dry streaks and whatnot, but yeah, that guy, man, freaking getting all those orange boxes and me sitting here with Vex Champ. Although I guess that's what happens when you fucking run Mausoleum with a Fireclaws Druid. I think most on Slash are Fatty, you, and Moltres, and Knack and Brius. Ah, that's funny. Yeah, I know you've always had a soft spot for Brius. I thought you were chill with Dan, too, but I guess not. But yeah, that's fair. Iceman is cool. He was joining my games and following me for no reason. Oh, Iceman. Yeah, but Nock. I thought it's because you know Nock from real life too, though. You had said previously that he's your like real life friend. Moltres. Yeah, I remember you guys had that whole debacle in the past, but I think you have some respect for people who actually are like have their own opinions and are open to other people trying to. I don't even know. Your relationship with Moltres has been an interesting one. Like, it started off with you guys bitching at each other for fucking cold mastery percentages and which one's best, and then all of a sudden that degeneracy just turned into like an actual form of mutual respect. You don't trust Dan. Interesting. You don't know him in real life. We met on Slash. Okay, I see. Well, yeah, I kind of get it though. I can understand that. I mean, I won the gold mastery argument, by the way. Well, I wonder about that. I wonder about that. Y'all were pretty insistent. Fucking cold mastery. That was the best. It's honestly like that season. That was the like where you guys were arguing over cold mastery. That was the equivalent of last season when I was running. What was it? No, it was this season. It's like it was the same level of silliness as like this season when there was that guy insisting that it's 2 or 4 super chests and fucking LK. Now that was oh man, just the level of silliness that got to it was fucking hilarious. I loved it. Moltres was just like, nope, you're wrong. It's plain and simple. You're fucking wrong. Anyway, sorry, I'm just reminiscing at your expense. That shit was fucking hilarious. I got a good laugh out of that one, man. That shit was dope. But that's not relevant anymore, I guess. But that's cool though. It's nice to see that you at least made some friends on this server. But I know that you have issues with other people too, and I mean, understandably so. I would even think, to be honest, like. It's interesting seeing your interactions with other people, because your interactions with other people are not the same interactions that other people have with other people, if that makes sense. Like I realize that for the most part, I don't really. Oh, Angelic. I don't care much for that. Which I played for one ladder. Ruru Quesadilla. Funny. I met Nock and Kush. Interesting. I never actually. I remember now. Yeah, that's the old name you used to go by. Yep, I remember. That all makes sense. You used to run on that account, and then you switched over to ZZ because you hated the name Ruru Quesadilla. In fact, I imagine that you went Ruru Quesadilla because back then you were, like, you enjoy, like, you were, I don't want to say a fanboy, but you were a huge, like, you were a loyal follower. There you go. You were a loyal follower and viewer of Ryu's, and you probably used that name. And then after that, Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't know how long it's gonna stay like this for, but yeah, oh man. Yeah, something's definitely up with my net, man. Like, I talked to my ISP not too long ago, and then it was fine for a while, but this problem keeps coming back, so I think I just straight up need to get a new fucking router from them or something, see if that fixes anything, and if it doesn't, then it actually might be a problem with my computer, but I actually don't think so. But again, like, well, I'm gonna have to try and work that out all later because this is kind of ridiculous. This has been happening on and off too much the last month and a half, I think it's been now. Buy your own router. Yeah, or that. Yeah, it might also be a good idea. Anyway, going back to it though. Yeah, okay, so yeah, no, it's interesting because what I was saying earlier is your interactions with people are not the same as most other people's interactions with other people. Like, most of us don't really, most of the people I've met don't really have like super strong opinions about one way or the other, and if they have certain opinions, then they're... No, I think that the problem is actually more fundamental than that. You probably what you hate the most is having to debate with people who are wrong and you know they're wrong, but they don't want to admit they're wrong, or they're unwilling to be like, okay, yeah, I was wrong. And like whenever you have like a strong opinion about something, like if you have a strong opinion about something, you want to express to people that no, this is the way it is, and people don't really take too kindly to that. That's the main problem, I realize. Like, when I'm really thinking deeply into this, which I really shouldn't think too deeply about it, because why should I? But I'm entertaining the thought for a second. I realize that part of the reason why it's so difficult for you to interact with people is just that it's like they just piss you off. Like, that's just the bottom line. Like, a lot of the time you're gonna have an opinion about something, a really strong opinion, or like you might have the facts, in quotes, the facts, and then you're gonna be like, okay guys, these are the facts, and then they're gonna be like, no, actually it's been like this for 15 years, so clearly these are the facts, and you're just gonna be like, well, what the fuck, like, no, you're wrong, like here you go, here's evidence that you're wrong. And they're gonna be like, nah, and then that for you is just like, you probably just can't stand that. You can't stand when you're right and other people won't accept you're right. Or not even that they won't accept that you're right per se, but they won't accept that they're wrong. I think that's the problem. That's the issue. I don't see opinions, it's just facts. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But I mean, for me though, I try to like I think for most people though, we don't, myself included, like, for me it's really 50-50, but for most of the people I've met, we don't care too much to dig into like the really deeper parts of like the calculations and all that jazz. Like, alright, like, there are things that can be preferences. Yeah. I don't know. No, I'm just thinking about how, like, pity is a pretty useless word. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, you're not entirely wrong. Like, I don't want to get into like an entire philosophical discussion, but like, okay, yeah, like, well, one person can think that this is a way things actually are, or, well, what people decide it's going to be. Or even if some people feel like, you know, one approach is the best way to do something. Well, I mean, if you have the numbers to prove otherwise, then you're clearly right. So yeah, when I see what you mean when you say, okay, your opinion's a pretty useless word, but I think just the issue is like most people aren't quite like that. from what I've seen, I think a lot of people are more like, alright, we play this game, or they play this game, they see a bunch of people running cows and swimming in well, shit. This is actually, the real way to get the most number of high runes is by spamming Arcane Sanctuary over cows, or this is the fastest way to 99. Like, I think a lot more people just play this game based off their gut. And then what ends up happening, too, is, like, they've got... What was the popular opinion? There you go. That's the word for it, or that's the phrase for it. Popular opinion tends to eventually get taken as like fact, which it shouldn't be, but it does a lot of the time. And so because of that, when people do that, they take popular opinion as fact. Then they see you with your attempt to try and disprove it, and they just dismiss you. And then it's like, well, what the fuck? And then at that point, you're not very happy with them because they're too stubborn to listen, and they're not very happy with you because you're, well, I wouldn't even say too stubborn to listen, but you are insistent that they're wrong. Really, I value truth and knowledge. If people are saying something that's factually wrong, that's an issue. Yeah, exactly. And then, well, because of that, I guess that's probably why you can't stand a lot of people, because there's definitely, like, there's people out there, a lot of people out there who will say things that are wrong, and most people are just going to be like, okay, well, whatever. Like, they might agree, they might disagree, and they'll just leave it at that. But in your case, you got to be like, no, that's definitely not how it is, and you're going to try to make sure that they know that they're wrong. And blah blah blah, and that's probably why I realize you don't get along with as many people. It's probably just, I guess, the way you are, which is very different from how the majority of people tend to operate from my experience. Like, even in my case, like, I'm gonna be real with you right now, okay? Like, I'm not as knowledgeable about you for this game, but there's definitely some things where I'm like, alright, yeah, this guy is clearly wrong about this specific notion about something, right? But I'm like, I don't care enough about proving them wrong, or about, like, spreading the knowledge that they're wrong, that I'm actually going to go out of my way to tell them that they're wrong. And if I were to tell them that they were wrong, then I'd probably be more polite about it than you are. Like, let's be real here. But a lot of the time, if somebody says, like, oh, I don't know, freaking Trav is, like, the best way to farm high runes in the game, it's better than LK and cows, well, at that point, I'd be like, alright, you know what, if it works for you, good for you. Or other people who are like, oh yeah, bailing to 99, or pub bailing to 99 is the fastest way to get to 99. Well, clearly on Slash they're wrong, okay? Like, I don't know how else to say it, they're wrong, but I'm not gonna fucking go out of my way, out of my farming, go into chat channel and be like, yo, no, you're wrong. No, this isn't the way it is. Even with the whole, like, situation with the Annihilists, I'm still of the mindset that, like, I don't even think that it should be a Zod rune or a Cham rune. I straight up think that it should still be, like, mantled heals. I legitimately think that fucking Declone should be a global spawn off mantled heals. But that's a story for another time. Like, my point here is, like, while I do feel like that's the case, I don't care enough about it to go out of my way to try and convince other people that that's the way things should be. Like, it's too much effort, and I'd rather just do my own freaking thing, and as long as I'm enjoying it, that's really all I care about. You're back now? Okay, well. Another thing is most people have a very strong aversion to avoiding arguments or thinking and just want to follow the leader, which I don't give a shit about. Yeah, no, I could see why you'd say that for sure. Like, I've definitely seen this is, like, the case with even, like, Call of Duty, right? Like I said, I mean, I watch a lot of people play, like, Modern Warfare, particularly Warzone, and I know that, like, I know this isn't Diablo 2, but it's a similar principle, where a lot of people are like, alright, well, rather than actually trying shit out for themselves, they'll just look at what the top players in the game are using, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's it, right there. And then, because of that, there's a lot of things that actually do end up getting slept on, not just in Warzone, but in a lot of games, even though they're really powerful options, a lot of people will tend to ignore them in favor of what is considered to be the best. Call of Duty, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is definitely the case with Warzone for sure. That, from what I've seen, like a lot of people, opted to ignore shotguns for example for a really long time. Then they're just like, all right, well, it took one season for them to put like shotguns on the ground, and then boom, now everyone's using fucking shotguns. It's from what that's all the streamers are using shotguns. They go up against people who have shotguns. It's fucking like Call of Shotguns, Shotgun Zone, whatever. Anyway, but that's all from what I've seen. Turning this back to D2, I guess the easiest way to make an analogy for this is right now. Look at all the people who are now investigating Arcane Sanctuary, right? Get like 5-10 years ago. No, I shouldn't even say 5-10 years ago. Even 5 years ago on Twitch, the idea of people running Arcane Sanctuaries to farm ghosts, I mean, it was there. The idea was there, but it was never like super popular, right? Like there weren't, most players wouldn't really, especially on Twitch, you wouldn't really have that many people who are running ghosts. Then one day Dark Humility comes along, he's like, alright, yeah, let's just farm Arcane. He presents his results to people, and now there's a lot more people who are more in tune with Arcane. Not good with social groups. I can't handle talking to more than one person at a time, and I'm old enough now that I don't care about what people think about me on a video game. Well, yeah, exactly. Or Twitch. Oh yeah, that's totally fair. But I find it interesting. Like, I just find it interesting how you aren't the kind of person that enjoys making other people miserable, but you still don't get along with, or I shouldn't even say don't get along with people, that's not a good way of putting it, but you just don't really like people, I guess. And I'm like thinking like, when I think about how your interactions with people and my interactions with people differ, I can kind of I'm trying to like kind of piece together how that might be the case. I don't know. It was just again, like, why am I even bothering? Like, this is all just hypothetical, and I mean, at the end of the day, you know you the best, but like, you didn't ask for me to like play fucking psychologist on you. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I think it's mostly just ZZZ at this point, but yeah, good old PC crash. We are back on it. D767, password is 1, and game description is GS4. Alright. Yeah, let me actually just start the timer again. From relatively close to where we were earlier. Is the stream back up now? Hope it is. So ZZZ, earlier you were saying, like, this was just before my computer. Well, this was actually after my computer crashed, but apparently my VOD actually captured or got what you were saying here. So you like people on an individual level, but groups suck. Groupthink or mob mentality is absolute shit. Causes all kinds of terrible shit in humans, so fuck them. Yeah. Well, I mean, kinds of terrible things. Well, I mean, that's a discussion for another time, but I think just in the context of D2, it definitely leads to, well, or just gaming in general, it does lead to incorrect popular opinions. Hey, Nickit, nice to have you still on board with us. Yeah, so, yeah, it definitely leads to, like, people being wrong, and then this misinformation gets passed around. Meaningless Doomer, what's up? What's going on? Where the hell's my bear? Okay, there we go. Good. Meaningless Doomer. Alright, let's carry on here. Hey! So you are another one of those people who have checked out my budget build videos. Thanks for your budget build video. Helps me a lot, bro. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad that you were able to make use of it and that it's served you well. My only real regret is that I haven't had time to make more budget videos lately, because I think I've actually really liked how I've made my budget videos, to be honest. They're not perfect by any means, but it seems like people have gotten a lot of value out of them, so that's really good. Budget CE Necro. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad idea, actually. It'd be a kind of a unique build, but still, if I were to make a budget guide video, I'd still want it to be for a summoner. I think that'd be, or a poison necro. Those seem fun. Mercmancer, yeah. Mercmancer. Honestly, yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, if I were to make a video on the CE Necro, or the Mercmancer, would I actually call it a Mercmancer? See, this is the thing. This is the real question. Like, I've already had this discussion with you. I 100% believe that Mercmancer just makes more sense as a name, okay? Like, you cannot change my mind on this one. But at the same time, I've been calling it a CE Necro for like 3 or 4 years. I just can't imagine switching off from this shitty name. Oh, nah, you're famous. Change the meta. Nah. Because I don't feel like it. Nah, it's plain and simple. I don't care much for changing the meta. I just care for making whatever budget build videos I feel like making. And I feel like making a Summon Mancer guide or a Poison Mancer guide, because I really enjoy the Poison Mancer. And I really enjoy the Summoner. But I don't really enjoy the Merc Mancer, personally. It's a cool idea, though. You should give it a try. And also, it's funny you say you're famous, because I'm really not. Yeah, me and my 500 subs will spread the word of the legendary Mercmancer build. Now, that sounds like a fun crusade. Like, that sounds like a fun journey, fun adventure, fun endeavor. Look, this guy came from nowhere. Means you're famous. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess by that reasoning, I was famous since day one when Maverick and Seth first stepped foot on. Well, actually, it wasn't day one that they stepped foot on my channel, but definitely, yeah, they've been longtime viewers for sure. Speaking of Seth, you went to go take a shower and he never came back. Guess that's one long ass shower. Either that or he passed out right after, or he's lurking. I don't know which. Rarely see people who make budget builds that are really budget. Most of them make videos about endgame gear. Yeah. I can't tell if you're on 2 different accounts right now, ZZ, and you're just no. Yeah, This is a dude with like a little icon next to his name. No, you wouldn't make 2 accounts just to mess with me like this. No, that's not a you thing to do. Anyway. But going back to it though, you really see people make videos. Most of them make so. D2 budget guy. Well, kind of. Like, I mean, I've talked about this before. Part of the motivation for me making these videos was that people weren't... Fuck, I'm taking a page out of ZZZ's book on this one. But I just didn't like how there were people who were going around making budget videos that very clearly were not fucking budget videos. Having a Griffin's, having a Titan's Revenge are not fucking budget budget items, okay? That is not a budget character. That is, by no sense of the word, a budget build when you have those items. Like, I guess, yeah, Titan's Revenge can be pretty cheap if, you know, it's like, you know, week 1 of the ladder or what. But if you're like a single player guy, like if you haven't played the game in like, you know, years and you're coming back to it, yeah, Titan's Revenge is not going to be something that you're going to be able to snap your fingers together and just have it magically appear. So yeah, like that was kind of one of the motivations for me. I wasn't trying to become the budget build guy. Like, it wasn't really. It's not like I was planning to get famous off of that. I just didn't like. I just had an idea. Well, I didn't like how other people were doing their budget guides, and I thought I could do better. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's not a nice way of putting it, but it's the honest truth. Like, I think that some of the guides out there were just bad, and I thought I could put out a video that was better than what people had to offer. And then after that, I was also thinking, like, I wonder if this is an idea that will sell. That's the other thing too, right? Like, and I'm not saying sell as in, oh, well, will I make money off of it, but just straight up, like, would people want to watch something like this? I feel like this is something that people want to watch. What better way to test this out than to actually put out a video and put my theory to the test? And lo and behold, I'm not swimming in hundreds of thousands of viewers or views, sorry, but I mean, there were plenty of people who have found value in these or in some of my content. So yeah, in that sense, yes. Like, I think it's good. I think it's good that people were able to watch my videos and say, hey, yeah, this is something I can actually use. Best D2 player of all time besides myself and Dobrunsky, of course. Yes, D2 or ZZZ and well, okay, yeah, ZZZ, D2, and Dobrunsky, the holy trinity of D2 professional league gameplay. Yep, don't even consider Indrik in any of this, by the way. Just us three. All of my friend who play D2 know you as D2 Budget Guy on YouTube. Are you serious? That's actually kind of funny. If that's actually true, that's actually kind of funny. That's a good chuckle. That's definitely not something that I was aiming to be known for. Like, I mean, granted, those are some of my only videos on my channel, but I think just the things that I wanted to do was I just wanted to, like, I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to do videos for things that weren't as regularly done on YouTube. Like, there's already people who do speedruns. There's already people who do, like, weird builds, like, what's that guy? What's his name again? Extimus? And there's people who do plenty of Holy Grail stuff. And I thought to myself, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if there's, like, what else can be done? There's always new things that can be done for a game. Like, I feel like a lot of people limit their imagination to, you know, what has already been done, and they try to spin off of what they see. But yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool to actually do a real budget guide. Makes me want to do more, actually. Kind of want to do the Singer Barb. That was going to be another one. I don't know if you're interested in that at all, Meaningless Doomer. I wanted to make a budget barb video because I remember one of the people on this server, I think it was Bobinator. Anyway, somebody was like, oh, well, every class has a build that allows you to start off day one just fine, right? Like, Sork has Blizz Sork, obviously. Pally has Hammered In, Assassin has Traps, etc., etc., except for Barb. Like, Barb relies too heavily on melee weapons and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, they actually have Warcry, and I realized that no one's ever really gone in depth and done a budget Warcry Barb. But I actually took an entire season to do a Singer Barb, so I thought it would be really fun to try and do one of those budget Warcry Barb. Same with budget Poison Necro. That one also might be pretty cool. When I asked my friends for some items, they said watch the D2D2 budget video on YouTube and stop begging them. Are you serious? Are you actually serious about this? I feel like you're yanking my chain here. I feel like you're yanking my chain. I can imagine this being a conversation people would have if I had like tens of thousands of subs, but like I have like 500. So, I don't know. That's funny though. That's good. It's a funny little interaction. But I mean, either way, if you are genuine about all this, then yeah, I do hope that those videos were useful to you. Well, it sounds like they were useful to you, so I hope that, yeah, that they were worth it. It was. Here's the other thing too. My videos are like 30 to 40 minutes long, but that's because I really do have to cover like everything that I talk about. Like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna cut it down to 15 minutes. Like, okay, yeah, you can cover a lot of stuff in 15 minutes, but like I like to be really in depth with what you can do, what you can't do, theoretical applications of what the builder is capable of, where to go from there, yada yada. Yeah, they're always trolling you. Okay. Well, ZZZ's always trolling me too, so you're in good company here. That's cool though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Meaningless. It's nice to meet you. But I have to say, I'm just a little bit envious of you. When you say all of my friends who play D2, so that implies you actually have friends who play D2. I mean, I got people here from Slash and this channel, but I don't actually have like real life friends, I'm afraid, that play D2. I wish I did sometimes. Then I remember that actually it's kind of nice to also have a game that I can play myself and just do whatever I feel like and not have to worry about others if I don't want to. And not feel bad about it, of course. A lot of them, but now they're playing POD. Oh, POD. Oh, POD. Good old POD. Why aren't you playing POD? Meaningless. You're waiting for Project Diablo? Hey, me too. I mean, you missed my little rant at the beginning of the stream, but I was not a really rant, but I was talking about how I myself am also kind of interested in Project Diablo 2. I'm not gonna spend like an enormous amount of hours in the Project D2 unless it, for some reason, turns out to be like super fun, which I doubt will be the case. But I just thought it'd be nice to try it out. Like, I've never really been on a private server from its infancy, right? Like, it's going to be the opening days of Project Diablo 2. It might be nice to actually give it a try and see what it's like, and be on the same page as everyone else. That'd be really good. Because right now, like, I've taken part in ladder resets on botnet. I've taken part in ladder resets on private servers. But it would actually be nice to see what it's like from day one. So, yeah, that's definitely something I'm interested in. Yeah. By the way, you said now they're playing POD. Why aren't you playing POD? Or it sounds like you're not playing POD anyway. And also, so you pulled up my budget videos, and you use these for single player? For BNet? For Slash? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Slash, but Slashdiablo is a pretty fucking awesome private server. And if you're interested, I can send you a link, and you can go check it out. The next ladder reset is probably going to be in about a month from now. I know that Project Diablo 2 is coming out, but it might be worth you giving this a try. You stick with the original one. Okay, well, so you're not willing to try out POD because you want to play the original, but you're willing to play Project Diablo 2. That's very interesting. Enjoying my Hammerton? Fair enough. Okay. If you want, like, I'm telling you, like, this Slashdiablo, part of the reason I play on Slashdiablo is because, what the fucking, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, there we go. So, part of the reason why I play on Slashdiablo is because it's as close to the vanilla game as I can get with regards to the builds, the items, and the monsters that you come across, and the content too. So yeah, like, if you're ever interested in seeing like this is as close to what you can get as to a bot-free D2 or bot-free like vanilla BNet type of deal. without the people who freaking try to scam you. Like, those people on the server get banned. But yeah, here, like, yeah, I'm using map pack. It's true, but the rest of the gameplay, though, well, the rest of the gameplay is close to vanilla as it gets. Median XL, I have way too much. Okay. Yeah, Median XL is... The thing is, Median XL is... I actually enjoyed Median XL. Back like 5 years ago when I played, or 4 years ago. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't played it since, but I remember enjoying Median just because like it was a fresh take on Diablo 2. It was something completely different. Like I've always talked about this, and I don't know if it makes sense, but to me it makes sense. People are like, so you like vanilla D2, you don't like POD because it's not vanilla D2, but you like Median because it's not vanilla D2, and I'm like, yeah, because POD tries to stay close to vanilla D2, but it's not vanilla D2, and Median is like whack, like everything in Median is fucking whack. It's wild. I love it. I think it's crazy. It's like playing Dota WTF. I don't know if you guys have ever played that before, but yeah, that's what that feels like. Anyway. Bro, it's gonna be so fun. No one is gonna know what is good. Yes, exactly, exactly. Thank you, Nickit. That is exactly what I'm saying. No one is gonna know what's good. Like, okay, like, yeah, maybe everything will be good, right? But it's not gonna be like here, where everyone's like, okay, yeah, Blizzard. No, like everyone has a fresh, clean start, and we're all gonna have to figure out what items are good, what classes are good, what builds are good, which ones are weak. Like, it's kind of be like exploring a whole new game, but with existing knowledge from a previous game that we've played before, right? Which is D2. Or Chain Lightning, Death Sentry, Assassin with the Dark Pact Necro. So I don't remember about the Dark Pact Necro, but I saw the Assassin Death Sentry, or Assassin with Chain Lightning Death Sentry. I thought that was super cool, personally. But to tell you the truth, the build that I really want to try is the Fire Nova Sork. That looks fucking epic, dude. Did you see that? Like when she can like throw a fireball in like every direction. You know, it's like Poison Nova but with fireballs. That for me is like what the fire skill tree should have been like. Like that is fire, and I mean that in two different, like, pun completely intended. I mean that in two different ways. That is fire, and it is hot. Okay, like that is good shit. Anyway, I'm kind of curious to see what that'll be like. I love D2, but I like good builds, you know. And in vanilla, there's like 5 good builds. So without those new mods, I would probably not playing D2 today. Respect you guys for playing Freezing Arrow Boa and Fireclaw Druid, etc. here, where let's be honest, it's less easy. Oh yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with you. I mean, I'm not gonna try and... I'm not really gonna downplay the reality of the situation, and it's that to do pretty much anything in the game, these builds that I play, Frostmaiden Boa, Fireclaw Druid, last season I went Martial Arts Assassin, right? The objective truth is that it is easier... No, it is tougher to play as these builds than going Blizzork or like Hammerden or one of the other meta builds. Like, I just don't know how to put it. The numbers are there, the mechanics are there. Fucking trying to having to successfully land 3 attacks to release a frozen orb is just not it, dude. I don't know how else to put it. That's the reality. I'm not going to disagree with you. You're right. But funny enough, I actually enjoy the well, I kind of enjoy the challenge of playing these weaker builds. I feel like that's part of the game. Honestly, that's how I look at it, right? Playing these weaker builds make the game more fun and more interesting for me than just playing as like Blizzork every season. And in POD, I think pretty much everything is viable. Like, from my understanding, there's no real, like... I don't know, they just made everything really easy from what I've seen. Like, okay, they just amped the damage on pretty much everything except for the builds that were broken in vanilla. Like, obviously, Boazon is much stronger now. Like you can do, like, Corrupted Storm Shield, right? Like, 4 open socket Storm Shield and shit like that. And that, for me, is like, that's just not it. I don't know. Basically, my point here is I'm not trying to say POD is better or worse or anything. I think here in vanilla, for me, what's most exciting about the game is the challenge of playing some of the like the weaker, in quotes, weaker builds. So yeah, that is definitely something to acknowledge. All of my friends build boas on POD. Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't know if there's a bad build on POD. I don't know how else to say it. Like, POD was designed with the idea of making every build viable in mind. So it simply doesn't make sense for there to be a weak build, right? Like, I was even crunching the numbers on my Poison Creeper Druid that I was rocking day one. If I had built it all the way to perfection, shouldn't even call it that, but let's just entertain me on this for a second. I could probably have gotten it to like over 4,000 damage over 5 seconds, which is still, I don't remember the exact numbers actually, but all I know is it would have been fine. I could have used it for whatever I felt like, really. Diamond bow, okay. Harridan's my first character, reached level 90, okay, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that, yeah, I'm guessing that if you had built a Hammerden to level 90, you probably used my budget build to get you part of the way there at least. Then vanilla, when you get to the end game and really figure out the meta and maps. Okay, cool. Nice to know. There's builds that are much better than others, even in POD. Yeah. Well, the Necro... See, yeah. Well, the Necro is going to be OPF, I think. You cast 3 curses on mobs. Mobs are decrept, maybe even dim vision. Oh, so you can actually stack curses. That's messed up. With Dark Paxton, it releases Magic Nova that can shock, and how OP is that? Well, that's fucked up. But that's also a lot of casts you got to do. I want something where, you know, you go in and you make a statement. Like I'm here, boom, you know, like... It's all about maps. Fair enough. This season, it's about off-screen AoE clear. Boa, okay, makes sense. I mean, my Swapcast Telly Boazon was all about trying to off-screen monsters. CE Necro, yeah, okay, naturally. FOH Paladin, okay, sort of makes sense. Hybrid Firesin. Okay, well, this is an interesting one. Best build only that can have enough defensive stats with that set, plus Storm for amp damage and shit in maps, okay. Diablo 2 AI remake 4K gameplay with 60 FPS? No, I've never actually seen that. If you share me a link, maybe I'll take a look after the stream's over. But yeah, I haven't even heard of that yet. So let's take a moment to address that, though. Project Diablo 2. So again, like, not to ride the hype train, but I think it's in Project Diablo 2. There's probably gonna be broken builds. But it'll be nice, kind of like, being on the even playing field as everybody else of not knowing what is going to be broken ahead of time, I guess. Like, just learning the game before there's like an established meta, before people know exactly what everything's going to be about. That for me is exciting. I think. Yeah, and of course I will be playing softcore as always because I'm a pansy. I'm a pansy little bitch, but no, really, like, yeah, I mean, if my goal is just to explore the game, I think softcore will be sufficient for that. I don't want to, if I'm going to play hardcore and die to some bullshit that I didn't know they changed in this new game, or in this new mod, and then later be like, alright guys, well I had to make a brand new character, so I'm going to quit because of that. No, I'd rather just have my character, and I'd rather be able to just chat you guys while I play and explore everything. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Did Project Diablo 2 support widescreen or full screen? I think it was, they said 4K support. I don't know if that's widescreen or full screen. Probably widescreen. Diablo 2 Remake 4K 60 FPS video. Okay, I'll open it up. I'm not going to watch it. Well, actually, I'll take a glimpse at it at least. Ooh, AI remastered plus... Ooh, that looks sexy. AI remastered. What does that mean exactly? That's really cool though. 60 FPS. That's what the game looks like. 60 FPS. Huh. Anyway. $500 GB size. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I might be let down. I don't know. It might turn out to be one big flop, but I'm cautiously optimistic that it'll at least be some level of enjoyment to be gained out of that. Anyway, so I wanted to take a moment to actually talk about something. This is going to be probably something that the ZZZ will be chiming in on. And I think on my last stream, I said that one of the things that I wanted to do is that... How did it go? I wanted to run Chaos Sanctuary 4-1 using like a Sork, but without using Blizzard. That was my goal. And I mean, I hate to say it's easy, but you were right. This is it was nigh impossible for me. I should say nigh impossible. I couldn't do it. There you go. I couldn't do it. I tried. I tried Firewall. I tried making a Lightning Sork. I tried a bunch of shit. I'm not gonna go over everything. I tried Frost Nova. Tried Frozen Orb. Tried Meteor. I tried... Yeah, I tried Frozen Orb too. I tried a Glacial Spike Meteor Hybrid. But oh, Nickit, let me give you a bit of context. In my last no, not good enough. Imagine trying to fucking bring down Infector of Souls with fucking Frozen Orb. It's just not gonna happen. On players 1 or even players 2 or even players 1, like that's just not it. I'm telling you. Listen, so Nickit, let me give you a bit of context. The last stream, I was talking to you remember Coaster, right, Nickit? Coaster was asking me if I was planning to run Blizzsork for Chaos Sanctuary, because next season, not like the upcoming season, but I think 2 seasons from now, one of the things I want to do is 4-1, because you know that we can multi-box on Slash. One of the things I want to do is I want to be able to consistently run Chaos Sanctuary in under 90 seconds with a 4-box strat. Within the first 24 hours of the ladder reset. So basically, Chaos Sanctuary, 4 characters. Yeah, how am I going to do that? With a Sork as the main spotlight. All right, so with that in mind, because here's the thing: what I could do is I could like turn my Paladin like a Hammerdin, and then I could just taxi my Hammerdin with my Sork, and then just kill everything with the Hammerdin. I could do that, but I'd really rather do the killing with my Sork. It just seems much more befitting on a season where I'm trying to play as a Sork, right? So here's what I was thinking. Here's what I was thinking with my Sork, right? Or with my Sork. So I'm gonna go Blizzsork, and then I'll have a Conviction Pally that also hybrids into Holy Bolt. Then I have a Bowbarb. Obviously, I need a Bowbarb. And then my 4th character is going to be a Lightning Trapper. That's kind of what I had in mind. But I'm also very... I thought it would be kind of cool to see if I could avoid using a Blizzsork. To still be able to do Chaos Sanctuary in a time that matches a Blizzsork. So that was the challenge. Am I making sense, Nickit? Yeah, that was the challenge. And so I tried Nova, Frost Nova, Frozen Orb, Firewall. Basically, no matter what I did, there was always a snag. With day 1 equipment, by the way. Like, here's the thing: if I have like a reasonably geared up Merc, I can just go Lightning with the Conviction Pally, and my Merc can very easily survive with like a decent bit of gear and some levels. And I mean, assuming that I myself also have armor or enough defense rating, because that's the thing. Defense rating is actually pretty important. for many years, I actually completely ignored defense rating altogether. I didn't give a shit about it in the slightest. But in recent seasons, I've actually come to, especially the season I was playing as my melee barb, I've come to realize and appreciate just how useful having defense rating actually is. If I can actually get a smoke and like a 2-socket Dusk Shroud or like a Worm Hide, then yeah, my runs become way easier. But if I use it in a smoke in like a freaking Quilted Armor, then it's way more difficult. Is it true that Boson is so weak in the vanilla Diablo? Sorry, that was uncalled for. I choked there. Choked on my words. But anyway, if you have 4 characters, can you make your assassin the carry, for example? So ideally, no. Ideally, I don't want to do that. What I mean is, I don't want to do most of the killing with my assassin. I want most of the killing to be done with a Sork. The first reason being that, well, for 2 reasons. The first reason is that, like that season, man, I'm going all over the place here. The last time I played Sork, the inspiration for this 4-1 strat is that the last time I played as a Sork, I ran 5,000 LK. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that season, but that was one of the main highlights. I ran 5,000 LK. And after those 5,000 LK, well, it was 3,000 LK in the first 2 days. After those LKs, I was like, I feel like I'd be better off just running Chaos. To tell you the truth, I felt like I would have just been better running Chaos Sanctuary. And so I wanted to kind of have a redo of the Sorceress season 2 seasons from now. So it doesn't really do the Sorceress justice if I'm just taxiing around my Assassin or my Hammerden to do all the killing for me. That's kind of my issue. On the other hand, there's also a more practical reason why I don't want to use my Assassin to do all the killing, and that's that if I'm doing the run with the Sorceress, I'd rather minimize the amount of multi-boxing that I have to do, right? Because the less multi-boxing I have to do, the faster and easier my runs will be. If I have the multi-box 3 characters or 4 characters, goodness forbid, in the middle of a Chaos run every run, that is just, oh, a Thundermaul. Anyway, yeah, it's not good. I mean, for run efficiency, okay? It just takes freaking forever. I don't really know how else to put it. So ideally, Chill, dude, relax. Yeah, sorry about that. That was unexpected. But yeah, ideally, I would prefer to have the Sork do most of the killing for these 2 reasons. It's okay for me to have the Holy Bolt Paladin kill just Lord Desay. It's okay for my Trapsin to kill a cold immune Infector of Souls, right? Because there's no other way I can really deal with an Infector of Souls on day 1. If my Merc isn't well geared, but it's not okay for example, for me to put 20 points in a teleport on my Sork and then ferry around my Hammerden to do all the killing for me. It just doesn't sit well with it. It doesn't sit well with me, plain and simple. Well, you would tell me with the so-so, then she goes back to town, the Paladin. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to do that. Oh, and then of course you have to consider I have to multi-box the Barb, right? I mean, I think that's a given. And on top of multi-boxing the Barb, I also have to tab back and forth between these 3 characters. Now, that might not sound like a huge pain in the ass, but it's a pain in the ass for me, personally, and it will slow down the efficiency of the run. Imagine having to tab back and forth between these 3 characters. Maybe you're like a professional multi-boxer. I don't know, but For me, it definitely slows down the efficiency of the run. Even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds every run just to switch back and forth between these windows, which it actually takes more than that. Having to save and exit on each character. Oh, and then of course you having these characters in the game makes it you're spawning these monsters on players 2 or players 3. So yeah, I just really would prefer both for efficiency and for more, I don't know the word for it, more honorable reasons, I guess. Not even honorable. It's more for, like, I guess the, like, there was a specific motivation or motive behind the this idea in the first place, and I'd rather stay true to that, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, there you go, Nick. So that was the motivation. Like, I know that took a while, but that's kind of like, that hopefully gives you some perspective as to what I was trying to do. Now, having said that, I tried to do something other than a Blizzard Sorceress. I tried Firewall, Lightning Hybrid, I tried Pure Lightning, I tried this, I tried that. Well, this Sork Road will do better than the... Yes, thank you, yes, exactly. You put it in very concise words for me. Will this Sork Road do better than the one from 2 years ago? Exactly. That was exactly the goal. And you remember how that season went, because I chose to go the Nova Baller, and then I ran like a bunch of Chaos after I ran 3000 LK, but those runs of Chaos I completely dominated like what I was getting in finds. So it's like, that really got me thinking, like, fuck it, why don't I just only do Chaos then? I'm probably just better off. Anyway, with that said, I wanted to try... Okay, so I've been trying to do a bit of theory crafting with 4-1s, and I'll talk more about that later, but I want to address Doomer's question from earlier, because I don't want to leave him hanging, and this is going to take some time. I don't know if you're going to be around for this, Nickit, but yeah, hopefully this story will be interesting for you in a second. But anyway, let's answer Doomer's question first. Doomer was asking, ooh, Umrune. Very nice. I got an Umrune out of one of the caskets. Awesome. This is run number 773. Umrune 773. Coffin. Yep, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's an Umrune. Nice. Okay, so let's go back to your question. Is it true that Boazon is so weak in vanilla Diablo 2? And the answer is yes. I mean, it really depends how you want to measure how weak a build is, but I would argue yes. Early game, the I'm assuming you're talking about a physical damage Boazon, by the way. That's what most people mean when they talk about a Boazon. They're usually referring to physical damage. Early game, you need a good bow. You're relying on your equipment to maximize your damage output, right? If you're a caster, you're definitely going to do a lot more damage just off of putting points into skills alone. But if you're a Boazon, you're especially dependent on how good your equipment, especially your weapon, is. And what that means is that in the early game, where you don't really have that much access to like really good bows, yeah, you're gonna have a hard time. Having said that, what is a good bow, right? Like Faith, Wind Force, these are much later on down the road that you'll be getting them. Much later on down the line. Once you get them, different story. Boazons actually become a little bit better, but even when you make it to like a mid game or end game Boazon, you're still never going to be able to clear things as quickly as most of the other builds in the game. They're very expensive characters to make. And I would argue they just don't really have that much payoff. If you're trying to do P7 farming, like, okay, so I don't know. There's just a lot of problems with them. Like, you don't have much mobility with an Amazon. Like, okay, yeah, you can stack a bunch of fast roll and walk, great, but you can't go Enigma at the same time you rock Fortitude. You can't. Yeah, which means you can't really teleport over most obstacles, making it more difficult to do things like pits and chaos without trading out some amount of damage. Let's see, what other things? And then your damage, right? Your damage is going to be like top end, maybe like 7k, 8k, 9k, 10k, and then maybe you get Deadly Strike. Honestly, that could be pretty good. Even if and here's the thing, if you have a fully decked out Boazon, you can do a pretty decent amount of damage, but in order to reach a fully decked out Boazon, it's, you need a pretty huge amount of wealth for it, right? Like, you need low rune for fortitude, you need jaw rune for faith, then you probably are gonna want like an Atos. You're probably going to want an inventory full of max damage, attack rating, and dex or life, grand charms and small charms. And those are just not things that come very easily. Like those are things that are highly sought after, that are very rare. All the other melee and Boazon builds are going to be wanting similar items. Like, it's just... Boazons just aren't... I wouldn't say that they're weak. Earlier I was saying that they're weak, like just as like a TLDR. They're not like so weak that when you fully deck them out they're still useless, but they're not like Poison Creeper weak, okay? They're not like a Poison Creeper Druid. Like, a Poison Creeper Druid will never be good no matter what you do. In endgame. Like, end of discussion. But like, while a Boazon isn't like that, it's oh, Bonehew, nice. It's just never gonna compete. That's my point. Like, it's just simply never going to compete with the other builds in the game. And if you're rocking it, it's going to have some very clear drawbacks, and it's also a pretty expensive character to build. So all those factors combined just make it so that, yeah, it's just not a build that you're ever going to rock unless you have another MF character. Like if you use like a sorceress to farm all of the gear for a Boazon, and then use your Boazon as your for fun farming build, then yeah, that's how a lot of people like to run it. But yeah, it's just not going to be your main go-to, if that makes sense. Yes, physical damage. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question, though. I had one like 15 years ago with Faith and all the good shit. She was alright, to be honest. Could pretty much handle anything in the game besides Ubers. But yeah, you need that gear. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, if you have all that gear, alright, it's fine. Alright, it's fine. It's not going to be great, here's the thing, for the amount of time and effort and wealth that you sink into it. But it can certainly perform. But in terms of gear, or in terms of like its performance, yeah, it's kind of meh. You can have Telly on swap. That's right. You could have Telly on swap. You absolutely could. But you know, at that point, you want Naj's staff charges on swap, and with the Amazon slow teleport speed, and then on top of that, you have to repair the Naj staff, and on top of all of that, if you're rocking a Naj staff on Switch, then that means that you can't actually use CTA on Switch, right? So. Yeah, anyway. That's... I don't think I've ever seen a Boazon rock a Naj's. Maybe there are some who do, but yeah. Hey, user miss. Boazon is so .08. Yeah, well, I mean, even now, there are some people who rock Boazons, right? Boazon's not a... It's a fun character. It's a cool build. But no one would ever really chalk it up to being like a A-tier farmer or anything like that. Like, there's not really any area that it can farm particularly well compared to anything else. Like, it can farm just about anywhere. And it can even do, like, Trav, I guess, but it's never going to really be, like, a standout character for PVM. And then when it comes to PvP, well, okay, PvP is a completely different ballpark. I'm not going to talk about that, but, yeah, PVM, whether it be early game, mid game, late game, there's just... it's always going to be hindered by something. Oh yeah, I forgot. CTA is big on vanilla, my bad. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, but yeah, it's exactly the issue, right? Like, CTA is what you're going to want on swap. Okay, like, in theory, you could, like, put a CTA in your cube and carry your cube with you on your character, or you could put put your CTA in your inventory, I guess, but you know, most people don't do this. Just too much of a hassle. Guided arrow is still great for PvP. Yeah, for sure. Like PvP for Boa, different story. That's why I'm saying strictly talking here about PVM, and that's it. Early game, mid game, late game. That's all I meant to say. Like it's like there's always going to be something that beats it out. I mean, you can argue that it's like that for most of the other builds in this game, including this Fireclaws Druid. But at least this Fireclaws Druid isn't dependent on whether or not I have, whether or not I actually have a wind force to do the maximum amount of damage. I can, like, look at this, right? Like, I can go into werebear form. I'm dishing out 9k a hit, and I can use this 6-shaled phase blade, right? But then with a boa, I need wind force to even dream of doing as much damage here. I mean, I guess that's not entirely fair comparison, because then you gotta consider immunities and shit, but of course you get the idea. Hammerden gear is still trash too. Hodo, Shaco, Enigma, and Spirit Shield, Trang gloves, other than that is still around. Okay, like, come on now. Hammerden gear like, you're gonna be like, Hammerden gear is still trash even though you have Hodo, Shaco, and Enigma. You're joshing me. But here, let me show you something quickly, though, if you're up for a little demonstration. I'm going to show you, Doomer, I'm going to show you a fun little demonstration that you'll never get to see anywhere else, okay? Let me actually make sure that I can do this right. There is a fun little build that I made. I call it the Swapcast Telly Boazon. It's quite a mouthful, but the point here is that oh man, it really has been a while since I've played this character. I'm gonna let's just there you go. Oh shit, it really has been a while since I've played this character. Shit. I'm gonna need a second, actually. It's been a while, so it's like, there you go. So check this out. This is the Swapcast Telly Boazon. This was a build that I came up with a while ago. This build kind of mitigates some of the... Okay, so here's the thing. You can't really do this in vanilla because, you know, you can't really see monsters off screen like I can. I'm using Map Pack because this private server allows it, and this is one of the cool builds that you can actually build because you have access to multi-boxing. But yeah, this was the... Oh, wait, look. That's Mavina's. So this is one of the really cool builds you can actually make for a boa that you won't really see anywhere else. I can show you how to make it, but yeah, like, this is a build that can actually farm pits relatively quickly. This is only on players 1, though, keep in mind. Players 8, it's going to be a little bit tougher to kill everything. And then, of course, I am, of course, utilizing a barb for this, too. You can kind of see. It's a pretty interesting character. Ooh, look at that. That's a unique Spired Helm. That might actually be a Nightwings. Yeah, this is the Swapcast Telly Boazon. This is why I was saying you won't be able to see this build anywhere else. This is like one of those builds you like, at first glance it might look like this is something that you'd see in like Median XL or POD, but you can actually do this with this character, and I'm going to actually show the stats on it in a little bit, but anyway, that's besides the point. Satisfying arrow. Oh yeah, absolutely. So there you go. So that's my little run for you. Hope you enjoyed that. So that is the Swapcast Telly Boazon in action. Now you got to keep in mind that this is a full. I'm gonna guess Veil of Steel. Oh, Nightwing! What the fuck? That's actually hilarious. Yo, guys, check it out. Check it out. Oh, that's hilarious, dude. That's actually fucking hilarious. That's so funny. Anyway. Yeah, well, I mean, too bad I'll never be able to use it, but... That's funny, dude. Fucking 15% Nightwings on a non-ladder character that has run its course. But you get the idea, though, right? Like, Swapcast Telly Boazon. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the build in just a second. Just give me a moment to finish with... Oh, yeah, right. I gotta do this. Yeah, there we go. Slam! Sorry, Pod Habit, I don't know what slam refers to, but anyway. So, going back to this, so the reason I was showing you this Boazon, Doomer, is this is a Boazon build that I had come up with, which allows you to use Enigma. You can run Enigma on this character instead of Fortitude. However, as you can see, the damage on this character is incredibly lackluster. I don't really know how else to say it. Or at least the on-screen damage just ain't that good. Like yeah, with the Pride and the Might on my Merc. Here's the thing too. I didn't really put my stats very well. I should have put more points in a Dex than Vitality. I think that was one of the mistakes of this build. But anyway, that's besides the point. Like, even if I were to take all the points from Vit and put it into Dex, my multi-shot damage just wouldn't really... I think it would maybe reach like 3k, 4k, and then maybe with Deadly Strike... Do I even have Deadly Strike? Yeah, I have 35% Deadly Strike, and plus that percent damage to demons. Like, the Deadly Strike and the plus percent damage to demons would help this build a little bit more, but I still would never be even with, like, this is as fully decked out as this build really gets, save for, like, some minor adjustments to small charms, right? This build would still never reach, like, 15k magic damage like the Hammered In, or 40k top end damage like the Light Sork, or the Fireclaws damage even was at 9k, right? Like, and this is, like, a fully decked out character, too, so, anyway. Corrupting. Oh, I see. Yeah. Should just go Corrupted. Damage is just a number. Who cares about damage? You can easily clear a whole bunch of mobs. Well, that's true too, actually. I mean, like, you could argue that, hey, yeah, this character, even without such massive on-screen damage, does just fine. But at the same time, this character... This character took about 2 minutes to run pits. The Poison Mancer can do it faster. The Light Sword could run it faster. Heck, even the Hammered In could probably run it faster. And probably could even run most... Like, this character is kitted out specifically for pits. If I were to try and run it for Chaos, probably wouldn't be nearly as efficient. We're back and see another day, another Yes, indeed, we did find another to round out this evening. Don't really think I'm going to be getting anything else aside from that. I was doing a short little demo for Doomer, but otherwise, yeah, we're getting back into the final 5 runs for this evening. Just won a Jeebus Outcast game. Nice. Was it 1 hero only? Anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little demo. That's still one of my favorite builds to date. Oh, but here's the thing. It does take advantage of the bug called swap casting, though, right? And the swap casting thing, well, you don't really... It's not something that... It's something that you won't be able to get right the first time. It's something that takes a little bit of practice to get used to, trying to adjust your character to do swap casting and so on. Regular style. Okay, interesting. I still haven't given that a try yet, but anyway. Yeah, so that's just a cool little build for you. Again, you'll never see that style of Boazon anywhere else. It utilizes the swap casting bug to swap teleport onto a normal attack animation, thereby negating the need for having... Basically, if I really wanted, I could run CTA on my Switch and not have to worry about needing FCR while I teleport. And my damage is high enough with Laying of Hands, Deadly Strike, and everything else that I packed on that I can still consistently crush waves of pits on players 1. That's the thing. Players 4. Anything higher than players 3 probably, like, I would be struggling to kill these mobs, plain and simple, but yeah. It was, hopefully it was a fun little demo for you. Alright, let's go back to talking to Nickit, though, because this is probably the last topic I'll be able to talk about tonight. This will be, whether to keep my Spirit Shield or switch to Zakarum. In my opinion, it's like this. Your Are you able to reach 125? Sorry, are you able to reach another FCR breakpoint with your Spirit Shield? If you can, go Spirit Shield. If you cannot, then go Hawes. That's usually what I recommend to people if you're choosing between Hawes or Spirit Shield when it comes to a Hammerden. Alright. Anyway. So, like I was saying, last topic of the evening, if you're still here, Nickit, I think you are. Okay, thank you, yeah, no problem. So yeah, last topic of the night I was talking about. Yeah, so Sorceress, and ZZ's not here, so I can't really run this by him. I was trying to say that, yeah, he was right. He was right. I can't actually... Well, here's the thing. Fundamentally, here's the problem. I have Bobarb and Conviction Pally and the Trapper, right? And I refuse to let like a Hammerdoon do the majority of the killing, but with the traps in, the assassin is capable of unleashing either fire traps or lightning traps. And I realized that if I go lightning traps, or if I go make myself a lightning sorceress, then my assassin doesn't really have a role. Like, I could turn her into a fire trapper, but the vast majority of monsters in Chaos Sanctuary are either immune to fire or have a ridiculously high resistance to it, which, again, the ridiculously high resistance I can deal with because I have a Conviction Pally, but But the fact of the matter is I have two elements, fire and lightning, and I have no way to deal with Infector of Souls. Okay, I'm just going to cut straight to the chase here. I have no way to deal with Infector of Souls if he spawns lightning immune. Or I have no way of dealing with Lord Desay if he... Well, actually, I always have a way to deal with Lord Desay. I can always Holy Bolt him. That's no big deal. But, yeah, that's just the bottom line. I tried to go a Fire Sork, but there's far too many monsters that are fire immune that I would have to deal with using my traps in. And then, of course, Infector of Souls himself can spawn fire... well, he always spawns fire immune. And I had to kill him in order to do the seal glitch, so that really leaves me crossing my fingers that I have to deal with him using lightning. Now, if I go Cold Sork, then... If I go, like, Cold Sork, then I actually will always have a response to Infector of Souls. If he spawns cold, I can go kill him with a Trapper, and then if I go... Or if he is lightning immune, then I can kill him with cold, right? Like, that's the issue. I'm trying crazy high-level area and resurgence. Okay, cool. But yeah, I'm just explaining my thought process here because, again, this was something I was trying to do since last stream. I was trying to work out a way that I could do Chaos Sanctuary without having to use Blizzard. And without having to rely on another character to kill the majority of monsters for me. And again, like because the Trapper deals fire damage, or sorry, the Trapper does lightning damage. I need something that's not lightning. So that leaves either fire or cold. But I obviously can't spam fire with so many fire immune monsters. So that really just leaves me with cold. But in the cold section, there's Frozen Orb, Frost Nova. Like, Frost Nova's not bad. If you have a fully decked out Frost Nova, great. But I don't have a fully decked out Frost Nova on day one. No matter how hard I try, I'm never going to be able to make it any good day one. And then, of course, that leaves me with, like, Glacial Spike, Frozen Orb. It just ain't it. I don't know how else to put it. That just ain't it, man. Like, fire is so bad. Like, again, like with the Nova Baller, fine, right? Like, if I have at that point, if I have like lots of plus skills boosting my damage, if I have Infinity, if I have Nova as a second source of damage, and I have a Merc this is the thing. It all rides on my Merc, actually. I should have been more specific, because the whole reason I need these three elements, I need cold specifically, is because I don't have a second element, or I don't have a third element that can handle Infector of Souls if he spawns lightning immune or cold immune. But in the past, when I had my Nova Baller, anytime I saw Infector of Souls, I would Nova, and then if he was still alive after I spammed Nova, then he's obviously immune to lightning, along with immune to fire. So then I would just switch to Spellsteal. I'd cast Decrep on him, and then my Merc would finish him off. Right? That's no biggie. But on day one, I don't have access to a freaking Infinity, or I don't have access to a good Merc pole arm that allows me to insta kill Infector of Souls. And what that means is that I need as much as I hate to say it, I need a hard hitting, high damage, cold spell, and the reality is that's going to be Blizzard. Frozen Orb, if it was just an Infector of Souls by himself, I could Frozen Orb him to death. It would be slow, no, it would be objectively slower than Blizzard, but I could still Frozen Orb him to death. The problem is he's surrounded by a bunch of Venom Lords when he spawns, and there is no way I can sit there and keep spamming Frozen Orb while doing enough damage to kill him and his entire pack of Venom Lords, because his Venom Lords just eat his Venom Lord pack or minions just eat the Ice Bolts. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I wish I had something else, but I don't. I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. If you want a good build, like you're trying to get sub 130 chaos, there's not that many options. No, it's true. It's true. But even then, right? Like, you know me. I like to push boundaries. Like, I'm obviously not like an Indrik level player. I'm not like I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not like a genius like ZZZ. But I have I have some ideas every now and then. Some are good, some are bad, and I wanted to try all of them out. And it just so happens that this is one of those times where, despite my theory crafting, it just doesn't take, right. Like in the past, like you would have told me, like, okay, no, on Slash the way to go is you gotta go cows for Hirons. But here I am, I could probably rock my Sorceress and then just do a bunch of chaos, and I could probably be richer. Or now there's like Arcane Sanctuary farming, like that might be another method too, right? Like even though the general opinion is, oh well, or popular opinion is like, oh well, no, this isn't possible. It's never, what they say, it's always impossible until somebody proves that it's possible, right? So anyway, sentimentalities aside, like, yeah, I'm a very stubborn mule, and I was hoping to see if I could make it work out without having to rely on Blizzard, the stupid broken ass spell, or one of D2's most broken ass spells. Not even because of its effect, but because of how much damage it does. But alas, I had no luck with that. What about having a Necro instead of the Assassin for lower res, and maybe allowing you to go light? No. That's not the problem. I'm already going Paladin so I can get Conviction. The problem is that I don't have enough elements. That's the issue here. So what I mean when I say I don't have enough elements is that if I go up against Infector of Souls and he is immune to lightning, then I'm fucked. That's just the reality of it. I mean, assuming that I'm only rocking my Sorc as lightning, right? On top of this, I have no way to deal with Grand Vizier of Chaos if I go pure light. Yeah. Because, yeah, like, okay, I could Conviction, I could lower res, and then I break his immunity. I don't even know if I break his immunity. I think I break his immunity. But then I'm dealing, like, what, 10% of the damage off of my lightning to him? Nah, man. Like, it's not a bad idea. I considered it. I considered going Necro. But, yeah, like, Necro with lower res, it's just not going to fly. I could go Poison, but Poison's just a little slow, I think, too. Conviction isn't enough, lower res isn't enough to break. So, yeah, I mean, even if I break it, I just don't have enough, the leftover damage, it's not going to be enough. Bone Spirit. 1,000 damage Bone Spirit. 1,500 damage, magic damage Bone Spirit against Infectorous Souls. Not a bad idea, but the base damage on Bone Spirit is, I mean, I don't know how else to put this, it's pretty pathetic. Unless you actually have a lot of plus skills for the synergies, and of course unless you have gear, none of which are going to be true on day one. So I'm fighting with sticks and stones. Now, by the way, just something I wanted to address from earlier. You were saying, like, this does tie, you were saying that this ties, you're trying to get sub 130, yeah, like, ties into what you were talking about earlier. Yeah, earlier we were talking about how there's very limited numbers of choices that we can do for vanilla, for pushing things like 130 chaos, but, I mean, I guess I could argue that, I feel like I could argue the same thing for POD, yeah? Like, for endgame maps, like, there are going to be some builds that are going to be just way better suited for dealing with those builds. Like, that's why, for the longest time, what was it, the Frost Nova Sork, or the Discharge Sork? Like, those builds were very dominant for a while, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it the case where light GCs were going for, like, Gull each for one season? I remember hearing something like that way back when. But anyway... Yeah, I guess my point I'm trying to make here is, no matter the situation, like, the restriction that you gave is always going to be... There's always going to be builds that are going to fall short of a restriction that you set, I think. But, yeah, anyway, that's... Hard for day one, that's for sure. Nice challenge. Yeah, totally valid argument. I feel like the wording on that I was just saying was pretty terrible. I'm glad you understand what I mean. Like, there's always going to be something out there that's going to be difficult. So I don't feel like it's entirely fair to pin that against D2, right? It's already a very difficult challenge that I'm setting myself here that wouldn't otherwise normally be possible. Like, day one Chaos Sanctuary in under like a minute and a half, like, that's already stupid. That's already kind of like WTF, right? Like, I'm not really giving myself much room for success here. But anyway. No. Home 3 Watcher, my hard limit is at 10:15. I gotta go at 10:15. I gotta answer a booty call, as he put it. But yeah, we will try to finish these remaining three, or 777, 778, 779. So 3 or 4 runs in P4. So here's the thing: it doesn't have to be P4. It just has to be. It's PX basically up to P4. Because here's the thing: if I deem fit, I could spawn all the monsters on B, because the drop rates are always going to be the same no matter the player setting, right? So what I could do is I could spawn all of the monsters on P1, then bring in my Conviction Pally and my Traps in later. I could do that. I think that's totally fair. I can also, of course, battle orders myself with my bow barb, and then clear everything out later, right? Like, and just clear everything out players 3. If I really want to, I could take that route. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, strictly speaking, it's not just P3 or P4. Like, I can play around however I want to do it, but PX But obviously, of course, if I am taking the time to spawn everything P1, then killing at P3, then that also means that there is some extra effort and time that goes into spawning all of the monsters beforehand, before bringing in my other characters, and then multi-boxing those other characters also takes more time too. So you see, it's actually a very interesting challenge. And it's really another one of those, like, you know how every season I'm trying to do something weird, right? Like, I'm trying to, like, showcase this Fireclaws Druid or the martial arts assassin. This is one of those times where, rather than just say, oh, I'm just playing a Blizzsork, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to play a Blizzsork, I might as well take it all the way. Like, how efficient could I possibly push this build in Chaos? Which, as you know, is also my favorite place to farm, so... Anyway, hopefully you, that's just the idea, though. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, force you to give me any ideas or anything like that. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm just, I don't think you were here last time, so you didn't get the full picture. But yeah, this is kind of the thing that I'm trying to prep for 2 seasons from now, because, like I said before, I want to go Sork season, and, I want to do a redo of the Sork season from last year, and I want to know what I'd be able to pull off, I guess, is just the bottom line. Is she bringing you McNuggets? Yeah, you know, well, actually, no, yes, because I'm the one who paid for the McNuggets, so technically, yes, she's the one who's going to be bringing me those McNuggets that I paid for. Alright, it's actually perfect time. I have 40 minutes left in a certain video. Can watch it and then go to sleep, or fall asleep to it while watching. That's funny. I didn't realize that you actually watched YouTube videos that were that were long enough that you would have 40 minutes left in those videos. Yeah, I didn't realize. I figured you would have left a comment on it or something. But, yeah, glad you're enjoying that one. Only those last runs if you finish by a maggot lair? I'm not sure what you meant. I'm not sure what you mean, Nickit. My favorite types of videos are 12 hours. Yeah, I can imagine, but I mean, sometimes, well, you can't upload to something that's longer than 12 hours, so yeah, alas, that's what you have to work with, I'm afraid. Hammered in Maggot Lair is something else. Oof, yeah, Hammered in Maggot Lair. Name a more iconic combo. Personal account, not my Hom 3 one. That's why I rarely comment. Oh, personal account. Interesting. Okay. Cool. I'm not going to inquire more about that. Yeah, I do, and no one knows. Go figure, eh? +2 cold skills. Garbage. And I'll ditch that too. Damn, Circlet Circuit, Coronet, and none of them were good. Anyway. But yeah, Nickit though, because this is again probably the last topic I'll cover this evening. This is probably something I'll have to run by ZZ again next week too. I don't think he heard any of what I was saying just now. He was right, as much as I hate to say it. Like, not even right. Like, in his words, if you're trying to do something like a non-Blizzork to compete with a Blizzork, good luck. That's what he said. He didn't say it was impossible by any means, but he was definitely not entirely convinced that I would be able to pull it off. Like again, with the restrictions that I'd set on myself anyway. Like, yeah, I guess in theory, I could build a Hammered and probably do it in sub 130. But, like, that's obviously not what I want to do, right? So yeah, right now I'm back to square one. I'm still back to Blizzsork. I know that I could do a run in like 130 in about 2 minutes with Blizzsork. Like to be honest, like right off of ladder reset, I haven't been able to figure out a way to do like a run in under a minute and a half. But I feel like the first maybe like 20 to 25 runs of Chaos will allow me to get like items or enough items that the runs that come afterwards will be a breeze. Because here's the thing, like with day 1 equipment, you have to be extremely careful. You need a lot of potions, ideally full rejuves. You need to be very careful. Like, your Merc will probably die a whole bunch, but after you actually get, like, do a couple of runs where you can, like, you know, kill Diablo, you can do things here and there, your runs become smoother, and then hitting 130 will be a lot easier. I think at the end of the day, I just have to accept that. Even the fact that I'm starting off as a Blizz Sork, and then eventually I plan to, like, ideally I would have preferred to go Light Sork if possible. But the reality is that a Light Sork just isn't practical in my opinion unless I have a reasonably well-geared mercenary. If I have a well-geared mercenary, then that solves all my problems, because then I will always have a response to Infector of Souls. Either my Lightning can kill him, or my Merc can kill him. Of course, that leaves the problem of Infector of Grand Vizier of Chaos, if he spawns Lightning physical immune, but yeah, Infector of Souls is the one that I'm especially worried about. That one guy causes me the most difficulty, and unlike with Grand Vizier of Chaos, and unlike with Lord Desay, I can't just my response to Infector of Souls cannot be Holy Bolt, like I was planning to do with Lord Desay, right? Like, Lord Desay is cold immune, and a lot of people deal with him using a mercenary. Well, I can't really kill him with an under-geared mercenary day one, so I devised this strategy of I'll use Holy Bolt instead to bypass that. Something I learned off of Coaster, because he built it wasn't strictly speaking just Coaster, it was like Incendies and other people as well, but yeah, like, let's go step by step. If it's not Blizzard, it's not cold. So it's like, yes, exactly. You're going in the yeah. Okay, sure. So it's light. Well, I mean light or fire. So here's the okay. Can Charge Bolt even clear fast enough? And if yes, what element could help you in case of immunes? Probably cold. I mean, yes, what element? Well, I mean, I don't know why I'd be using Charge Bolt. Do you feel like Charge Bolt would be the fastest way to kill these monsters? I mean, maybe. But, and if yes, what element would help you in case of immunes? Possibly cold. Yeah, possibly. Right? Like, lightning cold hybrid. I tried that. But again, one of the problems with cold lightning hybrid is the points that I invest in the lightning are the points I'm not investing in a cold, and vice versa, right? If I try to boost my damage on cold, my lightning damage suffers. If I try to boost my damage on lightning, my cold damage suffers. And it's, like with the Nova Ball Sork, once I'm fully geared, this isn't really much of a problem because I'm already outputting so much damage that this difference is trivial. But day one, I gotta either focus on one of the trees. Well, no, I shouldn't even say it like that. From what I found, I tried to go like hybrid lightning and like frozen orb, but of course then my frozen orb damage is kind of out. This is my last run, by the way. I gotta go after this. Yeah, kind of awkward for me to end at run 780, but whatever, good enough. I'll just start at 780 next time. So yeah, like, I could max out Frozen Orb, then go Lightning, but then my Lightning damage is like 4k top end, or 5k or 6k, I don't remember. Have I tried a Slapper's only Sork to kill the Lightning immunes? You mean Enchant? Buy an Infinity from D2JSP Easy. Yes, I'll buy an Infinity D2JSP Easy day one of the Slashdiablo ladder reset, you know, like, that's just how things work. I was making a 007 GoldenEye joke. Oh, my bad. I didn't. That one wished over my head. I'm not Rams, I'm afraid. But yeah. Probably cold. Yeah, really it just boils down to like lightning fire or lightning cold, right? And I'm like, I mean, I was thinking lightning fire wouldn't be bad, but again, like my biggest pain points when I do these runs are Infector of Soul. Like, it's basically Infector of Souls. Infector of Souls is my biggest pain point. Like, Infector of Souls and Grand Vizier of Chaos. The reason why these two are the most difficult to deal with Uh... You know what? You know what? I think it's better if I just show you guys. I think it makes... Nah, but I mean, I'm in the middle of a run. I don't have time. Wow, that was the closest I've been to death in a while. Never mind, the nuggets have arrived. Yeah, they kind of have. I'll do a quick demo, okay? Nick, are you still around? I'll show you this. Like again, I don't want to. I'm not trying to shut you down or anything like that. I'm of course I enjoy these discussions, but I'm showing you guys. I want to show you guys the difficulty here. Think about your secondary character. Okay, interesting. Maybe a poison jab. How much damage exactly does poison Javazon do though? Mobs are never poison immune. That's true. I could shop 3 gloves. Yeah, okay, now this is next level outside of the box thinking. I have to investigate that. That would be a pretty cool adjustment. What that would mean is that I'd lose a lot of my early game potential. Early game is in like going well, I guess that's actually not that bad because then I can just go like Nova Sork P4. That would still be perfectly okay. I was thinking that it'd be more difficult for me to run like cows, but then I could just do Battlemaid Serena. Yeah, that'd be fine. Well, anyway. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Let me give that some thought. The other thing I'm a little bit worried about though, with the Javazon, the poison Javazon, I think Infector of Souls as a Venom Lord has 75% poison resistance in Hell mode. So that poison javelin might not be doing as much damage as we want it to. In fact, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that probably the only real easy way to deal with Infector of Souls is with the good old magic hammer from the Hammerden and Blizzard. I mean, surprise, surprise. Actually, there is one other. Lightning Fury is essentially just lightning, which takes us back to square one. But, alright, I think that's the end of the run. Alright, run number 779. Alright, I'm not going to be on here for too much longer. I'm probably just going to be here for another minute, 2-3 minutes. I'm just going to quickly sweep this mausoleum, and then I'm going to show you guys a quick run of single player what my character looks like, and then I'm going to explain kind of the exact issue. Okay, so stay tuned. Oh no, there's still one more batch of monsters here that I completely missed. Okay, good. I'm glad I did one more thorough double check here. Makes me wonder how many monsters I actually have missed running these mausoleums. I'm sure I've missed a few here and there, but probably not a huge. Not enough that would really lose too much sleep over it. I'd like to think I've been pretty thorough about this. Okay, cool. You want. I'm going to probably save my muling for another time, but I got to refill everything at least for next time, and then it should be okay. Don't forget our breakfast date on Saturday. If I'm going to wake up early, I don't want to be stood up. That's true. That's true. Yeah. My bad for last week. I still feel very bad about that, but I mean, I fucked up, and I don't intend to fuck up again this week. So don't worry. We will have our good old these date. 780 next. Alright, so this last thing I'm going to show, give me a sec, okay? I'm just going to pull up my other character here. I can't believe no jaw on 777, yeah, wouldn't that be great? Okay, so this is my, yeah, never lucky, even on the luckiest run number, yeah, no kidding. So this is my Sork, okay? This is my Sork, just as an FYI. Right now it's on Frozen Orb and Frost. It's on Frost okay, I have Frost Nova hotkeyed to freeze monsters before I go in, but Okay, let's go in and show what I need to show. Do I have... do I have Oh, no, I don't. Ooh, that's messy. Okay, I must have taken all... Oh, I remember now. I remember. Okay, hold on a sec. I realized I fucked this up. I can't demo this right now. Anyway, so two things. This character, the reason why usually the way I make these characters, I simulate them having conviction or conviction pally and a bow barb by having a small charm that provides these bonuses. But a while ago, I was trying to experiment what would happen if I went and ran 4-1 Pindleskin to level my character, so I actually took off that bonus. I'd forgotten all about that. But anyway, the point here is the difficult part with these immunes is that Grand Vizier of Chaos is always light immune, along with his entire minion pack. And meanwhile, Infector of Souls is always fire immune. If the assassin had cold traps, that would solve all of my problems. I would just let my traps in, run cold traps, and kill Infector of Souls with cold traps. But alas, the only real option for my assassin, I mean, assuming I commit to these 4 specific characters, is lightning traps or fire traps, and fire traps will never be able to deal with Infector of Souls, whereas lightning traps means that trying to go for lightning is going to be simply I'm doubling on the same element, which doesn't help me. So fire and cold were the options. Don't want to go Blizzard, that leaves fire, but of course fire is negated by the stupid fire immunity on the Infector of Souls. So yeah, it's just a messy affair right now. I don't have anything good. It just boils down to cold, and cold, I really wasn't able to get any good spells off of the cold skills tree. Like, I've had a newfound appreciation for just how, like, I've had people say this before, like, the sorceress's abilities just aren't that crazy. It's just the raw amount of damage that Blizzard does that makes them so strong. But anyway, that's I guess just me reflecting on my experimenting here. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me now, though. Hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you all had fun. Really appreciate your guys' company, especially Nickit, Hom3 Watcher, Arctic Blast Druid. Ooh, now you're thinking really outside the box. Man, Nickit, you are something. That's clever. That is actually very clever. But I don't think it does that much damage, but I should probably double check just to make sure that it, like in the SK. You know what, I should check it right now, one sec. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. I know that, you stop by every now and then. You're not as interested in vanilla, but still it's nice to have your company here, especially as a fellow theory crafter and, yeah, somebody who welcomes discussion. Yeah. Hope to see you around again for Project Diablo 2. I'm pretty hyped for that too, man. Your Chain Lightning Assassin and Trapper and my my Cold Sword might make for a fun. We might have some fun times with that. We'll have to wait and see. All right, on a closing remark, Arctic Blast. So if I put 20 points Arctic Blast, 20 points Cyclone Armor, 20 points Hurricane, I get 1,000 cold damage per second on Arctic Blast. And then if I were to even put +5 to Druid skills, then I get 1,380 cold damage per second. Which is pretty pathetic, I would like to think, but I mean, yeah, I shouldn't rule it out. And meanwhile, like Amazon, same story, right? Actually, for Amazon, I considered not actually Poison Javelin or Plague Javelin, which I'm going to check that out too quickly. 20, 25, 11,000 damage over 12.6 seconds. That's actually pretty good. That is actually pretty good. It's just that the stupid Infector of Souls has like 70% or 75% poison res, so that's kind of annoying. But meanwhile, her freezing arrow. Freezing arrow does about 1400 damage. So 5 arrows in order to kill Infector's Souls. And that's assuming that she survives long enough for all that. But anyway, yeah, GG. Yeah, thank you for dropping by too, user miss. Same to everybody else. But yeah, especially Hum3 Watcher, Nickit, and ZZZ. I think you guys were the ones that were talking the most. And also Meaningless Doomer. I don't know if he's still around, but yeah. Towards the end. Don't come too often because I can't farm while watching. Always too much interesting stuff to talk about. Really. Well, I'm honored, Nickit. I'm glad that these discussions of ours have been, I guess, mentally stimulating enough that it forces you to not be able to farm. Yeah, always appreciate your company though, Nickit. Thanks again for dropping by. Hopefully next time you come back, I'll have more cool topics for you to talk about, with you. But yeah, take care, dude. Stay safe, and appreciate you stopping by to watch. Can't farm while watching me. That's funny. Good one, bro. Thanks for the stream. Likewise, appreciate you hanging out. Same with everybody else. You all have a good one. Have a lovely week. See you guys next Wednesday, hopefully, with the next runs of Mausoleum, where we hopefully push into the 800 runs mark. But otherwise, guys, I'm off for the night. Gonna go for my McDonald's, McNuggets. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you all had fun. And until next Wednesday, this is D2D2 signing out.